Atlantic City, a town square media station serving all of South Jersey.
Isn't it about time for somebody's favorite radio program?
Yeah. 97.3 ESPN presents The Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
When I'm driving, I got a guy on the radio who talks to me. I can't see him, but he talks to me.
Now, live from inside the Ocean Casino Resort Studio, here's Mike Gill.
Two o'clock, Sports Bash, live, 97.3 ESPN, the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, live video streaming on the X platform, YouTube, at Mike Gill Show. Subscribe, use the hashtag SBLive. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Gill. Josh Henning producing today's show. You out there. A lot of NFL news today. World Series now 3-0. That one looks to be done. The Yankees last night, the game was Monday night. Looked like the Yankees were over there watching the Giants play. Didn't show up for the game last night. That's a shame. Eagles getting ready for Jacksonville. Are the Eagles a top 5 team in the NFL? Right now, Eagles, top 5 team. Yay or nay? What do you say? 609-403-0973. We'll get into it like that right off the bat today. Are the Eagles a top 5 team in the NFL? A couple of weeks ago when they got to 4-2, I asked the question, have they turned the corner? Do you feel better about this team? Now, when you look at the landscape of the NFL, how many people out there look at the Eagles team as a legit top 5 team? And, they might be 6, maybe 7. Where do you think this team is? In the pantheon of the NFL right now, you're listening, I'm asking the question, you're thinking about it. What's your answer? Where is this team in your mind? How many teams in the league right now do you think are better than Philadelphia? We've got a whole bunch of teams that I think are in discussion. We asked the question last week. How many teams, when I say the team, you say, yes, they're definitively better? Remember last week we got stuck on Minnesota. Are they better than Philadelphia? As you get more information, you might evolve your opinion. As you get more information, as the resume gets more and more stuff on it, you evolve your opinion. I'll tell you the team, are they better? Are you ready to say they're better than Kansas City? Probably not. Are you ready to say they're better than Detroit? Probably not. How many other teams, if I say the name, you would say that team is better than Philadelphia right now? 609-403-0973. And I'm saying, are they in the top 5? Do you put Philadelphia in the top 5? Or is that crazy talk? I'm thinking about this. All right, so doing some research for the show today. Jalen Hurts had 3 touchdowns on Sunday. I don't know that we even thought about that. He had 2 passes and he had 2 runs. He had 3 rushing touchdowns on Sunday. 4 total touchdowns. It's the 14th game with multiple rushing touchdowns by a quarterback in NFL history, and the second most by any player since Hurts has entered the league. One is Saquon Barkley. Derrick Henry. But he's got Saquon Barkley on the team. And it's Barkley. This is where this almost thunder and lightning 1-2 punch is really starting to show up. Barkley, 57 yards in the fourth quarter. And then Hurts gets the score. And you remember that 17-yard run that he got that got down to the 1-yard line, and then Hurts, Hurts pushes it in. But Barkley averaging 5 yards a carry and just wearing the defenses down. I thought that was a big underrated part of the game on Sunday. And Barkley had that 8-yard run on a zone read to get the ball down to the 7-yard line. And then Hurts had the 7-yard zone read touchdown on the next play. Barkley's ability in the run game is starting to open up more things for Hurts now in the run game. Because Hurts, I think, was struggling in the run game because the whole run game was just an RPO kind of based run game. And now you're starting to see them, I don't want to say get away from the RPO completely, but it's not as prevalent as it was, where it seemed that when they ran the ball, that's the only way they ran the ball, right? When the Eagles ran the ball, it was an RPO run pass option. But if you go and look back at that fourth quarter and think, why was this a different style? Why was this a different finish of the drive? It's a 12-play, 85-yard drive, and it ends with a 1-yard touchdown run. But it ends with a 1-yard touchdown run with Saquon Barkley doing a lot of the heavy lifting. And it's Saquon Barkley. I'll tell you what was interesting on this drive. They ran how many plays? 12 plays. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the plays on that drive. You know what was unique about them? They were under center. It's a change to the run game. Look, 1st and 10, Ben Van Sumeren is in the game. 1st and 10, Ben Van Sumeren's in the game after an 11-yard run. Then they go shotgun for 4 straight plays. Then they go back under center. Bang, Barkley for 4. Bang, Barkley for 19. Bang, Van Sumeren's in the game. They're mixing up their looks with this run game now. When they ran a 12-play drive, and I saw that 7 of the 12 plays happened under center, I said, wowie, this is something different. You know, they came out in the second quarter, had an 8-play, 70-yard drive. And in that one, they went under center 1, 2, 3 times. And in those plays, you got Barkley running the football. And one of them, under center, was a pass to Jack Stoll for 6 yards. So they're starting to show some more wrinkles. They're starting to add some more context to the offense. 609-403-0973. 609-403-0973. Mike, let's see what we got on the text board. Chiefs, Bills, Lions. That's it. Ravens, Texans, Eagles, all right there. That's on the text board. By the way, the Texans just got bad news. Stephon Diggs out for the year. ACL. That means Diggs is done. Nico Collins is out on the injured reserve. That team's in some offensive problems here. 609-403-0973. Cole and LBI says, if you go to the NFL standings, they're 9th. I think they're better than one team in front of them, Pittsburgh. And I think you can make an argument for Atlanta and Baltimore are better than Philadelphia, and they are behind Philly in the standings. I don't trust the Eagles' defense to be able to put them in the top tier of teams just yet. All right, I'm glad you brought those up because I've got the same thing in front of me, Cole. If you look at the standings right now, just the league standings, okay, the overall standings, Kansas City 7-0. Are they better than Philadelphia? Probably. I will give you some numbers on that, though, to make you think about it. I think we all say Kansas City. Why? Because of Mahomes, right? Do we really think Kansas City, though, if I get it, Mahomes is the quarterback. Points for Kansas City, 173. Philadelphia, 171. Points against Kansas City, 123. Philadelphia, 132. Kansas City's a plus 50. Philadelphia's a plus 39. I get it. Kansas City, I'm not going to argue with you. They're the better team. Is it significantly better? We all watched Jalen Hurts play against Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. It was a pretty close contested matchup. So were those two teams closer than we think? Think about that. Detroit is the best team differential. They are a plus 100. They have scored 234 points. Washington, are they better than Philadelphia? Well, they've scored 236. Their defense is 167. They're a plus 69. Houston, I like Houston. I think without Stephon Diggs and now Nico Collins, I think they fall down the list a little bit here. Pittsburgh, I think Pittsburgh's actually looking better the last 2 weeks offensively. I think that offense is growing still, too. Buffalo, Philadelphia beat Green Bay. Minnesota's in front of Philly. Do you like Minnesota better or Philadelphia? You guys let me know. 609-403-0973. 609-403-0973. Shaner in EHT. What's up, Shaner? Haven't heard from you for a while, my man. Mike, you can truly see the difference between a Barkley versus Swift. Swift is good. Barkley's great. Smash and burst the sideline speed up the middle. I want to stop right there for a second. We talked about this when they signed Barkley. Swift is good. He's having a really good season with the Bears, by the way. But he's not a difference maker. And what I mean by that is the team doesn't think of him as a difference maker. So they call plays differently for Swift than they do with Barkley. Why? Because the team believes Barkley's a difference maker. Todd and Brigantine, Mike, I don't think they're a top 5 in either. Todd, you have zero credibility. You said this team was going to win 7 games. They have 5. I'm sorry, dude. I love you, but you told me this team's going to win 7 games. Now you're trying to tell me they're not top 5 in either conference after you told me they're going to win 7 games this year. I mean, you're just delusional or something. I don't know what's wrong. What happened to you, buddy? You're a smart dude. I like you, man, but come on, man. You're better than that.
I think Todd's probably been hanging around with too many haters.
Well, I don't know what to say for Todd other than I think he's really holding on to say that he said they were only going to win 7 games this year, and he's just trying to dig in on that opinion.
So you're saying he's committed to the cause?
Yeah, I give him credit. He's committed to the cause by saying, I think they're only going to win 7 games. They're already at 5. And Todd's telling me, all right, I got to read the rest of it. He said, Mike, I don't think they're a top 5 team in either the NFC or the AFC. So that isn't even top 10 in my opinion. You just go to the AFC. Are they better than Kansas City? I'll just say Kansas City because I don't feel like arguing with that. But I don't think Kansas City – I just don't – other than Mahomes, I don't think Kansas City has anything that really is all that outstanding.
Kansas City has a great defense. Their offense stinks this year.
Their defense, 123 they've given up. Philadelphia's given up 132.
9-point difference.
Right. I mean, they're 11-point differential. Kansas City is a plus 50. Philadelphia is a plus 39. I think other than Mahomes, now, I get it. Mahomes is a big deal, but the rest of that team, their defense is great right now. And by the way, Kansas City's schedule the rest of the way. They don't play. I think they have one game, Buffalo. They play Buffalo, where you might say someone's going to beat them.
Yeah, I think they're favored in every but one game, they said last night on SportsCenter.
Houston, I think Houston's in trouble now because of the receiver situation. I really do. It's a shame because I like that team. I love the quarterback there. Pittsburgh, I think they got a really good defense. I think their offense is coming around. Buffalo, I'm not that big on Buffalo, but they've exceeded my expectations. Are you saying Denver's better than Philly?
I wouldn't go that far. I think Denver has no offense.
Baltimore.
Not no offense, but their offense is just not dependable.
I like Baltimore. That was a very disappointing loss this week.
It just goes to show you how one player can make a difference for a team.
Yeah, Chargers, I don't think they're better than Philadelphia. I don't think Indianapolis is. Obviously, no. Cincinnati's not, and nobody else behind there. So I think if you were telling me right now, I'd put in the AFC, I have Philadelphia either maybe 2 or 3.
I think Philadelphia has to be in the top 5 conversation, and I think
in the entire league.
Yeah. Because of the fact that it's not about as much the Eagles, it's about everybody else. It's the comment, I forget who texted in last week, but they said to you, Mike, they were saying, there's so much parity in the league right now that there's not a huge difference from one team to the next.
That's the thing. The parity is there. So that's what I say. There's only, if I say Detroit, you're saying that team's better than Philadelphia. But then I go back to the conversation we had yesterday. Why are we so, if I just said, here's the 2 offenses, do a draft, who you taking?
Right. Like for example, I would say you're taking the Eagles 2 receivers over the Lions 2 receivers.
Right. Like you're taking their offensive line over the Eagles offensive line, but it's not like, wow, we're so much better. But I think the Lions have a better offensive line. Do the Lions have a better receiving core as a group, maybe, but the top 2, I think I'm leaning Philadelphia over Detroit.
A.J. Brown is better than anyone Detroit has, and I think there's a strong argument to be made that Smith is better than Brown.
And then the running backs. Would you rather Barkley or their tandem? I think it's up to you, whatever you like more.
It's a preference, right?
Yeah, they're all preferences. I think the only one that's a definitive is the line. I think their line is better than Philadelphia's line.
Right. It's like some of this stuff is what is your personal preference? It's like, I prefer this fast food place over another fast food place.
Jeff says, in my honest opinion, Detroit's the best team in the NFC, but if you told me the Eagles are going to play the Lions in the NFC Championship game, I'm not really scared. Jared Goff is their quarterback. Well, Jeff, I think you got to start giving Goff some more respect. That's one thing.
Goff is having an MVP season.
Yeah, that's one thing I think. We are tied to the Goff that played with the Rams, who was kind of a limited guy. And, you know, we think of him as that Rams quarterback, and we kind of just think of him as this limited guy. He has been I think the difference between Philadelphia right now and Detroit is they have had Goff playing at an MVP level, and you have had Hurts playing at a less than MVP level. If Hurts plays to the level that he played in 2022, are those two teams on the same level?
They're pretty much equal, I would say.
So Detroit, I think, is definitive. Washington or Philadelphia? That one's tough, man. I don't know what to think of Washington's defense.
Washington is a dynamic offense. If I remember correctly, they are one of only a handful of teams that has over 200 points this year. The problem for Washington...
236 they have. That's the most in the league.
Right. So, I mean...
Actually, that's second most. 242 for Baltimore.
I was going to say, I think that there's only like, 4 or 5 teams. I just got to look at it again, but I think there's only like 5 teams that have over 200 points this year.
Yeah, so. Tampa Bay 235, Detroit 234, Washington 236, Green Bay 216, San Francisco 210, and then Baltimore has Buffalo 230, and Baltimore 242.
Right. So they're one of a handful of teams that have an elite offense. It's just the defense, they have not looked good at times this year. At times. Not every single week.
609-403-0973. You know, Green Bay. I think Green Bay's an interesting one because you beat Green Bay on a neutral site.
Right.
So, and Green Bay 6-2. They've scored 216. They've given up 170. They're a plus 46. You're a plus 39. So, and they've played one extra game than you. They haven't had their bye yet. But you have played Green Bay head-to-head. So if I say, who's better, Philly or Green Bay, you played on a neutral site. It's not even like the game was in Lincoln Financial Field. You say, wow, the game was in Philly. No, the game was on a neutral site, and you won that game.
And you won that game in spite of Hurts throwing 2 interceptions. So that goes to show you, for an Eagles team that had turnover problems at the beginning of the year, Mike, Hurts has had no turnovers this month. So are we to say that the version of the Eagles now wouldn't beat the Packers by more?
I don't know. I mean, I think the Packers have improved, but the quarterback situation there, look, that's opening week. Everybody's different. The quarterback situation there, wow, nice trade. Ravens, Deontay Johnson getting traded to Baltimore. I saw your reaction.
Yeah, the Texans could have used Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, this trade deadline is on Tuesday, and I think it's going to be a lot of movement because you got teams now. Tennessee, done. Jets, I mean, are they going to give up? I don't think so.
Jets are in purgatory. They don't know what they are.
Well, they're right now. There's 16 teams in the AFC. They're 15th. So I know what they should do, but how many teams are willing and able to say we're out of this thing? We're done. You got
not many.
I mean, in the AFC though, Tennessee's 1-6. The Jets are 2-6. The Patriots are 2-6. Jacksonville's 2-6. The Raiders are 2-6. Cleveland's 2-6. Miami's 2-5. Cincinnati's now 3-5. So that's at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 teams that have 2 wins or less.
That's
on the
wild.
AFC side. On the NFC, you have Carolina, New York, the Saints, and then Dallas. I don't think Dallas is going to give up. I don't think the Rams are going to give up because the West right now, the Cardinals are in first place at 4-4, tied with San Francisco. The Rams and Seattle are 4-4, and the Rams are 3-4. So everybody there is still involved.
Yeah, the whole NFC West is in contention. It's crazy.
Yeah, so how many people out there, when I say, are the Eagles a top 5 team, is your initial reaction, that's crazy? Or is your initial reaction, let me think about this?
Can it be both? I mean, it is a little bit crazy, is it not, that we are in this situation where there's this much mediocrity in the league, right?
Well, that's the thing. The word is mediocrity, parity, whatever you want to use. But I think you say, can it be both? I think if I say, are the Eagles a top 5 team, most people would say that's ridiculous. But if you're really being objective here, you're saying, let me think about this. Wow, I didn't think of it this way. Yes, maybe they are one of the best 5 teams in this league.
And again, it's less about your personal feelings, Todd and Brigantine, about the Eagles. It's more about who the other teams are.
Detroit, Washington, Green Bay, Minnesota, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Chicago. They're all the teams that have a winning record right now in the NFC. Arizona, Tampa Bay, San Francisco, Seattle are 4-4. And then the Rams, Cowboys, Saints, Giants, and Panthers. That's the standings on the NFC side. In the AFC, Kansas City, Houston, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Denver, Baltimore, and the Chargers. They have winning records. The Colts are the only team that's 500, and every other team is under 500 in the AFC. I'm Mike Gill. This is the Sports Bash. Let me know. You guys putting the Eagles top 5? Is that crazy talk? 609-403-0973. 609-403-0973. It's the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN. Watch the show on the Twitter X platform, YouTube at Mike Gill Show. Subscribe. And we got so much to do today. NFL free agent tight end Colin Thompson, former Carolina Panther, set to join us. How does he make sense of this league through 8 weeks now? We have hit the halfway point of the NFL season, believe it or not. We'll get into that. Some news on Joel Embiid and Paul George. Sixers play on Wednesday night. Flyers play tonight. That game will be on our sister station, Rock 104.1, and the Rock 104.1 free mobile app. This is the Sports Bash.
It's the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
And I am the voice of the voiceless.
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
With GMF financing, the qualified buyers excludes Traverse and Corvette, excludes prior sales.
Need a car, truck, or SUV? Great! Get to Bennett Chevy, where you're going to get Bennett's best offers ever. You know Bennett sells new Chevys at the true GM supplier employee price, right? Well, right now, Bennett Chevrolet says, how'd you like to buy your new Chevy and pay $500 below the GM supplier employee price? Yes, $500 less than our employees. Plus, you keep all the rebates. That's up to 15% off the sticker. And with available 0% financing, you'll have incredibly low payments. And if you've got an old car to trade, right now you'll get a minimum $10,000 towards any pre-owned vehicle in stock. That's at least $10,000 for total junk. Imagine how much we'll pay for good trades. And wait till you experience Bennett's non-commissioned sales team. Paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. So they'll make getting all these unbelievable deals even better. Together, let's drive. Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Wendy's breakfast burrito has an entire breakfast in every bite. Fresh cracked eggs, seasoned potatoes, American cheese, cheese sauce, and sausage or bacon. So the first bite is like fresh cracked American cheese, bacon. And the second bite is like fresh cracked American cheese, bacon. You get the idea. And now get yours with $1 any size soft drink. Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Exclusions apply.
Something good to know from First Bank of Sea Isle City. We have all of today's innovative banking products just like the big banks, but we offer something they can't. A personal community focus. Let's get you started with Bill Pay. You save time when you pay your bills online. It's fast, easy, and convenient. First Bank of Sea Isle City. A community bank that delivers more for you every day. Personal service, today's technology, from the people who truly care. Learn more at firstbankseaisle.com.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Halloween's coming alive at Target. Jackie and Gordy, the Jack-O-Lanterns, here with last chance Halloween deals. Looks like Mom's got the old pumpkin bucket stocked with the best candy, starting at $5.99.
Lucky pumpkin bucket. Oh, there's Dad party planning with a same-day delivery order.
Yes, it's a BOGO 50% off pizza party with Target Circle. Plus, buy 3, save 40% on soda 12 packs with Target Circle.
Nice saves, Dad.
Make your Halloween come alive at Target. Need it last minute? Get same-day delivery with Target Circle 360. Restrictions apply.
Broadleys is your trusted source for plumbing, heating, and air conditioning, and your go-to Mitsubishi Electric Elite Diamond contractor in South Jersey. Say goodbye to fossil fuel burning systems and switch to a qualified all-electric, all-climate heat pump from Mitsubishi Electric with 0% financing for 84 months. Plus, if you make the switch before year-end, qualify for up to $2,000 back in federal tax credits. Call Broadleaf today for a free quote at 609-390-3907 or visit broadleaf.net.
I spray and scrub, but the soap scum in my bathtub is still there.
I spray and scrub, but the burnt sauce on my stovetop sticks around.
Sprays can leave grime behind, but Mr. Clean Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser combines the scrubbing power of an eraser with the cleaning power of Dawn to melt away tough messes on contact.
Just wet, squeeze, and erase.
Stop spraying, start erasing, and clean with more magic than ever with Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
The time of year for killer deals. You've had your eye on some hot new wheels. We want to pay off your loan or lease and tell your old car to rust in peace.
Get your Matt Black Kia today. Buried in a loan or lease? Matt Black Kia wants to get you released. Then treat yourself to $0, 0 payments until next year. Even 0% up to 72 months on ad-free, clearly marked new Matt Black Kia in stock. You won't need a costume to get a brand new Matt Black Kia Forte LXS under 20 grand. That's right, a brand new Kia, just $19,999 with any trade. That's less than most used vehicles.
It's gotta be a Matt Black Kia.
With 24 EV9 and 6, $1388 per thousand. Not all will qualify. Credit may affect down payment. Offers can be combined. Go to mattblackkia.com for complete details or 888-505-6670. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer, except for licensing, registration, and taxes. Through KMF. Rebates and incentives to deal. Expires 10/31/24. Matt Black Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike. Egg Harbor Township, and on Route 37 in Toms River.
No two people learn the exact same way. So how did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? We thought of you, all of you. Take Sierra. As a visual learner, she uses Babbel's wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping in French.
Merci beaucoup. Keith is a be-in-the-room-with real people kind of learner, so he loves the live online classes with our language experts.
Okay, class. Vos está pronto.
Estamos prontos.
However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Try Babbel for free at Babbel.com, Babbel.com.
Go to get your game on at the Gallery Bar Book and Games at Ocean Casino Resort. Cheers your favorite drinks while cheering on your favorite team. Get in on the parlay while in the middle of a party. Go for the sports scene and go for the endless screams. Go to the gallery. Go to the Fanatic Sportsbook. Go for the win at Ocean Casino Resort. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. Must be 21 or older to wager or consume alcohol. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
It's the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Keeping the fans entertained and happy.
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Here's the dangerous part about Philly. They're getting better as the season goes on. Their offensive line has still been banged up. They had their two best receivers injured and banged up. Now they're getting back, and all of a sudden, Jalen Hurts is looking more like the 2022 version of Jalen Hurts.
Jeff Saturday this morning on Get Up said that is Jalen Hurts starting to turn the corner. He said they look like they're turning the corner. They're getting better and better. We ask you the question on the text board. It's open at 609-403-0973. 609-403-0973. When you think about the Eagles, do you think of a top 5 team, a Super Bowl contender with what we're seeing? And it's not just the Eagles. Look, I think the Eagles have flaws. I'm not sitting here telling you, look, you guys are missing this. This is one of the best teams you've ever seen. It's just the league has so many mediocre teams. The parity in this league. Do we have to expand our thoughts on what this team can be? We'll talk to Colin Thompson from the Colin Thompson Show, Sirius XM NFL Radio, former Carolina Panthers. One of the Carolina Panther receivers, Deontay Johnson, just got traded to the Ravens. I think this trade deadline is going to be interesting to see how many teams think they're in this thing. And it's because of what we're talking about. You know, Kansas City's 7-0 at the top of the heap, and yeah, I think Kansas City's there for the taking. I know Kansas City's going to be there at the end, but are they definitively an unbeatable team? I don't know about that. The Houston Texans, they just lost Stephon Diggs. Nico Collins is on the injured list. The Pittsburgh Steelers, very good defensive team. I think their offense is coming around a little bit. I think Pittsburgh is one to watch. Buffalo, still not sure how I feel about them. Denver, oh man, Denver offensively is an interesting, group there. We'll get into them coming up as well. Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. Some people watching on YouTube today. Jay Foxy5 says maybe not top 5, but not sure. Oh, he says maybe top 5, but not sure they are a Super Bowl team on the Eagles. Yeah, how many teams in the league right now? We're halfway through the year, Colin Thompson. Halfway through. Week 9 of 18 is coming up. It moves fast. How many teams, and I know this is off the top of your head, but how many teams do you look at halfway through as, yep, that team's a Super Bowl level team?
Wow, that's a great question. Detroit is, Kansas City for sure. Detroit, I think Baltimore is. I think the Bills are. I don't know. It's a little bit different. Wow, that's a great question, Mike. It's too early to tell, man. It's too early to tell. Who's going to play well in December? Who plays well in December will matter. If Detroit falls apart and Kansas City falls apart in December, then what's the point?
Hey, listen, I agree with you. I mean, that's the thing is 2 weeks ago, you look at Philadelphia. If I asked the question, are they better than this team? Are they better than this team? And you'd be like, Minnesota 2 weeks later, is Philadelphia better than Minnesota? You're like, yeah, sure. But Minnesota 2 weeks ago, you're like, no, man, that team's pretty solid. They got this, they got that, they got Jones, they got, Houston. I feel terrible for Houston right now, losing Diggs and Collins, so I don't know what that does to them. But
it's all about November and December, Mike. That's it.
It is. It's about November, December. But this Philly team, what they did to Cincinnati, did that help formulate a better resume for a better opinion?
It's a great question. Again, I think it's too soon for everything. The biggest challenge I said last week on the show with you was, what's Philly? Great win last week, Giants, the whole nine. Well, are they going to do it again? And the answer was yes. And not a win, just a win for the fact that they went out there. This was our identity. Here's how we're going to go about our business. Here's how we're going to play defense. We're going to fly to the ball. We're going to celebrate together. We're going to get pass rush from multiple levels of the defense. We're going to swarm to the football. We're going to be physical. We're going to create plays like awesome interceptions. There's a common theme against a really good offense at Cincinnati. That's, it's not been the same. I shouldn't say really good offense, a good offense in Cincinnati. And then to that point, okay, offensively for the Eagles, which is really where my focus has been, is like, man, it's been the same offense for a couple of years now. You have all those talented players. What the heck is going on? And, Blaine Johnson's coming out and saying it's constipated. That's not you and I. That's Lane. So at the end of the day, their offense looks smooth. I'm watching the tape again. It looks smooth. I don't care about the first quarter thing. That's a stupid number. Do you win games? And how does it look? To me, that's what matters. And they looked smooth. The fullback, the play action, it looked like they were setting up plays. They were building on plays from the week in the past. And to me, honestly, Mike, the play of the game was Saquon Barkley running the guy over and get the first down. Because 2 weeks ago, he ran out of bounds. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
That's not the Philadelphia Eagles way. So obviously they've listened to coaches. The coaches have been coaching them, and they're showing progression each week. So again, what's it going to look like next week? Do we take a step back? Jalen could always make those throws. It's just like, what's the rest of it look like?
Well, I'll tell you what. One thing I'm noticing, see if you're picking up on it as well. I mean, that 12-play drive late in the game, 7 of the 12 plays, they're under center. 3 of them have a fullback. It feels like the run game's evolving. They are becoming more comfortable doing more things. The playbook is expanding, whereas a couple weeks ago, it looked a little slow and a little stale.
It did. And it's expanding. There we go. A little tech issue there. We're figuring it out. But it's expanding. There's comfortability. There's multiple pieces being involved. The RPO stuff is there, and they're still forcing it, which I get. I think it's a little too much for me. Make it simple. Cut the field in half for Jalen. Let's get him involved with these schemed up runs, which we saw, right? Like, that was great to see. It's like Saquon leading up on a backer, a little draw, pass fake, and then all of a sudden there's Jalen crossing a guy up, coming downhill, trucking a safety for 10 yards. You're like, there we go. Like, you should see that 4 to 5 times a game. You should have, I would say, 4 to 5 runs under center every game at least. They open up the first half with it. They open up the second half with it, the same play, wide zone week. 2 tight ends. So that was great to see, Mike. I'm just excited for what next week's going to be. Like, can we build on it? And I think they're moving in the right direction.
All right, so take us in a offensive room. You've been in those rooms where your team does something well one week. Do you stick with some of those plays? Do those plays go out the window? Take us through kind of like an offensive meeting to get ready for a game. Like, hey, here's something we did really well the last couple of weeks, but that play's not even going to be on the play sheet this week. We're doing something completely different. How does that kind of happen?
No, you're keeping all your best plays in, and then you're finding ways to shift in motion to get what you want. Right? Like how's the defense set? Are we going to run at a certain player? Are we not going to run a certain player? Do we run at this front or that front? Right? Do you want to run to the bubble, which is if you're facing an over and under front, it's the gap essentially between the nose guard and the next tackle. One gap is bigger than the other. So long story short, you're running your bread and butter, you're dressing it up with a few different things, and then you're adding some things that maybe another team has done successfully. But to me, the Eagles are good enough, and that's what drives me crazy. When you are good enough to line up and run your same plays no matter what, and you dictate the terms, they're the best teams. Lions dictate the terms. The Chiefs dictate the terms. The Eagles in the past haven't. They just haven't. It hasn't looked like, man, we're the big bad birds with this high-paid offensive line, high-paid running back, high-paid running athletic, physical, freak quarterback, great receivers, depth at tight end. That's why it's like frustrating. It's not frustrating because the expectations are through the roof. So they're going to keep their same plays in, Mike. I hope they do. I get the fullback continue to be more involved, not just end of game stuff. I love it, and I think it makes it simple plays for Jalen and to get Saquon the ball.
Colin Thompson's with us, of course, the Colin Thompson Show, Not For Long Media, Sirius XM NFL Radio. We've got the NFL hitting the halfway point here, so we're starting to learn more about these teams. I want to go to the other side of the ball, and Vic Fangio's defense, is this a product of, the Giants are the Giants, the Browns were the Browns with Deshaun Watson, this Bengals team's been struggling, they didn't have T. Higgins, or is his defense starting to kind of come along here?
I think it's coming along. I think it's arrived. You could see the depth in the defensive backfield, like Cooper DeJean's like coming in different roles, in and out, right? Like their starting corners are good players, they're veteran players, you get the young guy in there. Right, so that's exciting. Again, Mike, I think all 3 levels have great players on it. I think the signing of Zach Baum, like, is he going to fly around and get a ridiculous amount of tackles? No, but that guy was not that type of player in New Orleans. He was an edge-setting Sam linebacker. I played against him, blocked him, but he's it seems way better at the Mike linebacker spot running around. So the signing of him, man, is really impressive. And then defensive line-wise, it's got to be by committee, and you're starting to see it. And I would say this too, like, how he's going to be aggressive with the deadline coming up, but where's he going to go be aggressive?
Right. If you were sitting in that locker room right now, what are you guys sitting around talking about? Man, is Howie getting us what? What do they want?
You're saying he's going to get somebody. He's going to make a move, but what's it going to be?
Yeah, where's the spot? If you're on that
linebacker, probably it's another depth linebacker piece. Maybe a guy that's like in and off a roster that he likes. I don't think it's going to be a big swing, but I would say they're going to go after a linebacker or defensive end, defensive lineman, that front 7. You can never have enough of those guys. Like, they're already thin at linebacker to begin with. I know Vic Fangio came out to said, I read a quote today, it never really works out. But I think you get a guy who's like a 4-core special teams guy. You go get a guy that can come in and play on maybe certain downs. Maybe he does something really well, like blitz from the linebacker spot or can cover out of the backfield. Like, it's a niche guy. So, yeah, they'll go get somebody. What are they going to do? I don't know. Maybe they'll go up to the receiver spot. Maybe they go get another tight end. They've had some injuries there. How's that going to work out? So,
yeah. They're not wrong, though. I mean, how many times is a trade in the NFL where you're like, that was the difference?
I don't know. You got to really think about it. But it's weird. It's so much different than
it is. I mean,
football's so hard.
You don't see trades like you do now. Now people are trading left and right. It's like fantasy football. Hey, you want a wide receiver? I'll give you a running back. I mean, here we go. You just had Deontay Johnson. Did you play with him in Carolina?
I did not. No. He got traded. They brought him in to help Bryce Young and get him comfortable there with a younger receiver threat. I know they were trying to
work.
Well, yeah, they were trying to get him out of Pittsburgh. Good player. I think he's a good. I thought Devontae would be the perfect fit for Baltimore, but Deontay will be a good fit there. He's another 2A type wide out The Baltimore's legit. I wouldn't let last week's loss. Cleveland's better than people think. I think it shows how poor the quarterback play was there before.
Yeah, I would agree with that. What do we make of Washington? That's a good that game. I mean, they shouldn't win that game. I mean, that game's a joke that they win that game, but here they are, 6-2.
Yeah, that's how the ball is going to bounce. I think for me, like I've said it before, I thought Washington was going to have a nice year. Did I say they're going to be 6-2? I don't know. Right? I don't think so. But I'll say this. You don't get Bobby Wagner, Frankie Louvu, Zach Ertz, Austin Eckler, Allegretti, Tyler Biotic, Jeremy Chin. You don't sign those guys in the offseason if you think you're going to lose. You just don't. Maybe you sign Louvu to a long-term deal. Maybe Bobby Wagner to help with some culture. But you don't bring in an aging running back. Like, you don't bring in Ertz. You just don't. They go other teams. And there's obviously been communication between their agents and those players like, hey, you're going to come. We're going to win here. Wait till you see this Daniels kid. Wait till you see what Cliff Kingsbury is going to do. And he learned from his time in Arizona. That guy's going to get a job. So, head coaching job, Cliff.
So see, that's the problem I have with that. I'm not saying maybe he doesn't deserve a second chance, but some guys are just good at that. That's what you're good at.
I think he tied himself to he said it. I tied himself my whole career to a young Kyler Murray.
I know, but it's like
you're tied to a quarterback in coaching. Look at Matt Rule. Look at all these guys.
I just feel like so many times it's like just because you are a creative play caller, why does that make you the right person to be in charge of all 53 guys?
That's a great question because you're so talented at one thing. Sean McVay,
floor.
Minnesota. Wow, my guy I played for, I forgot his name. Help me out.
Kevin O'Connell,
Kevin O'Connell. Right, these guys are
Matt
so
LaFleur, Shanahan, those guys. Yes.
But then a Dan Quinn, who's a defensive-minded guy, but really a rah-rah team guy. He's a motivator. He's an old-school coach, right? So I don't know, Mike. I think at the end of the day, quarterbacks make coaches look a lot better than they are, period.
I would agree.
It. You need to draft a good quarterback, period. You don't have to draft a good coach. You need a good quarterback.
Dallas done or?
I think Dallas is Dallas. Like, it's hard to watch them. Like, I love good football, Mike. I watch. Sunday was a treat. College football has been a treat. It's so fun. But, like, again, not even a Philly fan. I didn't grow up an Eagles fan. I'm a supporter of the team. Like, they're just Dallas. Like, on my national radio show, Mike, they want us to talk about them. I'm like, what are we talking about? Do you watch? There's no creativity. Like, it's 3rd and 6, and they hand the ball off to the fullback on inside zone. I was like, what? You got CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott. Like, I think, to me, Mike, bold prediction, I think Coach McCarthy's a great coach, too. Don't get me wrong. You don't coach this long in the league if you're not an elite football coach. Like, the guy's done it. But it's not working, and you can't get rid of the players. I think they'll get rid of the coach, and I think that's a place where Belichick goes. I do. I think they say we're going to go all in, draft capital, everything. We're going to try to win for 2 years. Bill, you need to break the record, and you want to win another Super Bowl? Bill will break the record. I think he needs like 10 wins to break it. And then Jerry.
No. He needs a lot of wins. He needs. Yeah, he needs to get like 10 wins a year for like the I'll tell you.
No, he's not. So I would if I'm him, I'd go there, sign a 2-year deal for a boatload of money, bring in the staff, have more control of the roster, go get free agents and try to build a team in a 2-year window. That's what I would do. What do we got, Mike?
Let's see here. It is Bill Belichick has 302 and Don Shula has 328. Yeah, he's a couple seasons away.
You're right. He's got, that is. Maybe he bought a place in Annapolis. Maybe I just retire down here and call it a day. Keep doing media. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I know he's like, but he's gonna have. I mean, he's like 4 double-digit win seasons away from getting that record.
Yeah, that's a rough playoff run. Maybe helps him, but yeah, that's a good point, Mike. No, I mean, listen, I think Washington's legit. Jaden Daniels legit. Cliff Kingsbury, Dan Quinn, that combination's legit. They also have some really good coaches around there that have coached around college or pro football that are very good. Anthony Lynn is the head coach in the league. He does their run game. Like, they have Dan Quinn builds a good staff. It's amazing the morale. I think the league's better and Washington's better. You kind of hear that all the time. It's like when the Giants are good, the league's better. Yeah. You could say the same thing about Washington. Like, they've been down in the dumps. We're talking decades. So it's a buzz down here in Maryland, Mike. Like, people are ecstatic. You're seeing more jerseys. You would never see Commanders jerseys before. So I'm happy for their fan base because, man, of all the fan bases, they get beat up the most.
All right, really quick, a couple other teams I just want to throw. We're halfway through. Is Minnesota, was that a flash in the pan, or are they hanging in this thing? They lost Darisol's tough.
Yeah, he's a monster. They'll be fine because they're well coached. They'll find a way to get it done. I think they're. I mean, listen, if you've told me you finished the year with 5 losses, that's a great year. So I think they're right in that 5-loss window. They'll probably lose 3 more games.
All right, the other
their division's
team,
great.
Yes, the other team, Arizona. What about them? They're in first place in the West right now.
You know, last year I remember watching the first couple games of Arizona to see what the Gannon effect was because everyone in Philly made fun of him. He was a little corny or whatever. And then all of a sudden, like I watched the team, I'm like, damn, they practice hard. And then we had a joint practice with them when I was in Minnesota. I was like, this is interesting. They got some juice to them, and they weren't that talented. They had some players, but it wasn't like they're loaded. And then this year, you kind of see it. You see Kyler Murray getting a little more comfortable, and he's healthy. And you add a couple weapons, and they got Trey McBride, who's like the best tight end in the league no one talks about. The guy's a monster. So they have some players there, Mike. James Conner's been a really good back for a really long time since his time at Pittsburgh. Beat cancer there, went to the Steelers, was great there. So they're for real. Why can't they be? But there's tiers, right? Like Detroit this year, they don't have a flaw other than their injury to Hutchinson, and I bet they're going to go after an edge rusher. So, how's that going to shake out? I don't know. But Detroit scares the hell out of me more than probably anybody, probably even more than Kansas City.
Anthony Richardson benched. What do you think?
I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, Mike. I do, but it's really hard to. I'm thinking hopefully he took a shot and doesn't want to say it to the head maybe, or a shot somewhere and doesn't want to say it and how to take a knee. But I saw what happened, and he was honest about it, which I respect. But, Mike, that's a tough one, man. That's about as bad as you're going to get. I don't know the situation. I don't like to comment on situations I don't know more about. I was going to text my buddies with the Colts, but I was like, you know what? The writing's on the wall. He got benched, and they can't afford to bench him. They got to develop him. So Steichen, he's not tying himself to him at this current moment, and they're going to try to win the Joe Flacco, and they probably will.
Yeah, listen. If you've been in those locker rooms when you know that you don't have the right guy starting, that's tough.
But that's even tougher when he taps out. It's one thing to be like, man, we're trying, bro. Keep grinding, keep getting better, like keep fighting. We're going to get there. And then it's like, hey, I'm tired.
The man's completing like 35% of his passes.
I know. I think what you do.
I feel bad because I criticize him a lot, but he had no business being a first-round pick. I mean, he wasn't even that good at Florida.
People compare him to Milroe because they're big, strong, but Milroe is a better thrower, way better.
Right, I mean, he can launch the ball 75 yards. That's great, but what else can you do? I mean,
and here's the thing, Mike. You know what he could do in college? All the zone read run stuff and truck dudes. But guess what? And I had this debate. My producer, Jack Connolly, he's like, he's going to be great. I'm like, I hope he's great. He's a Florida Gator. I'm a Gator guy. But you can't just run over guys in the NFL. You will get hurt, and you see it. So that takes his whole game away. People, Cam Newton, big, strong. Cam had a crazy arm, crazy early in his career and midway through before he got dinged up. So
absolutely,
he's a freak. But until they build that offense around him and run all the zone read and all that stuff, they can't run a normal offense with him as a player. So you got to go big tight ends, fullback, Mike, not pay big receivers and muck it up like they did with Greg Roman. Shout out to South Jersey football and get him in what they're doing with the Chargers, what they did with the Ravens.
Colin Thompson, the Colin Thompson Show on Not For Long Media, Sirius XM NFL Radio at Colin Thompson TU and here on the Sports Bash. Every Tuesday we muck it up, we chop it up, and talk a little NFL. All right, man, we'll talk to you.
You're the best, Mike. Love the show, buddy. Talk soon.
Adios. All right, there's Colin Thompson here on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN, the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, and streaming live video on the X platform, YouTube, at Mike Gill Show. Subscribe, follow along, and be a part of the show each and every day. Don't forget, we got the Sixers tomorrow night right here on 97.3 ESPN. They're taking on the Pistons. We'll have news on that. And who could be in and who could be out for the Sixers coming up next here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
It's Sixers basketball tomorrow night on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the Sixers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Maxey for three, outside left, bullseye. He puts it in. A crossover dribble on McBride, and he pours in a triple.
It's Sixers Pistons tomorrow night. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. It's Sixers basketball all season long on South Jersey's radio home for Philadelphia 76ers basketball. 97.3 ESPN.
Oh, yeah, it's on at Matt Black Nissan. New 2024 Nissan Rogue S, 0 down at 2.9% financing for 60 months. But when they're gone, they're gone. Have a trade? Bring it to AJ the Trade Man. He's paying cash, lots of cash, up to 120% more cash than KBB fair market value. Then drive home in your new 2025 Matt Black Nissan Kicks. Just $299 per month lease with 0 security deposits. And every new Matt Black Nissan comes with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Have a job clearing $450 per week at Matt Black Nissan? You're virtually approved today with 0 down and low 2.9% financing. MattBlackNissan.com. Unapproved Tier 1 credit for new Matt. Negative equity will be refinanced into new vehicle plus tax tag and $589 doc fee. Offers can't be combined. Call 877-289-6670 or go to MattBlackNissan.com for complete details. 24 months, 10,000 miles, $27.99 due through NEMAC. PIN RC 738396. MSRP 31,115. It's on at Matt Black Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
The time for holiday hosting is upon us, so make your second bathroom second to none with HomeDepot.com's best savings of the season. Right now, enjoy up to 40% off select online bath. Find the latest on-trend styles of vanities, faucets, showers, tubs, toilets, and more. All at prices that will let your budget relax right along with you and your beautifully renovated bath. Get up to 40% off select online bath plus free delivery at the Home Depot. Subject to availability, see HomeDepot.com/delivery for details.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $200 in bonus bets when they bet $5. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bet. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in New Jersey. Terms and conditions apply.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com.
It's hurricane season. Are you prepared? Don't get left in the dark. Calvi Electric, a certified Generac dealer, has you covered. From installation to maintenance, they're your go-to experts for Generac generators, ensuring your home stays powered through any storm. A Generac home standby generator will automatically restore power to your home during an outage, so your life goes on uninterrupted. Put your trust in Calvi Electric, the premier electrical contractor serving South Jersey for over 115 years. Visit calvielectric.com today or call 609-345-0151.
Every day, Cintas service reps help businesses get ready for the workday. They provide freshly laundered workwear delivered every week. Mats, mops, restroom and cleaning supplies. First aid and safety products to help your employees stay safe. They even test and inspect fire extinguishers and emergency lights. Cintas helps keep your business running smoothly. See what Cintas can do for you. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Score a touchdown when you bank with Jersey Shore Federal Credit Union. Catch lower rates on loans and higher rates on savings. You'll cheer when you don't have to pay a penny to get your own money since they offer 85,000 surcharge-free ATMs. Get the details or open an account online with just a $25 minimum deposit at JerseyShoreFCU.org or swing to a branch in Northfield, Galloway, Hamilton, or Rio Grande. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to The Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
2:53, Shams Charania on the Pat McAfee Show with an update on Joel Embiid and Paul George and explains why the NBA is investigating the 76ers for Embiid sitting out.
From the NBA perspective,
there's no specific injury that the Sixers have cited. So when you think about Kawhi Leonard, when you think about Chris Middleton, Kawhi Leonard has a serious right knee inflammation issue. Chris Middleton is coming off double ankle surgeries. And so there are specific injuries that you can define. They're black and white. Here in this Joel Embiid situation, the Sixers have said there's no injury here.
So they're basically saying there's no injury. Why is this guy sitting out? Now, apparently he will not play tomorrow either, and neither will Paul George. And one of the reasons is Embiid has not practiced. But we would say, why isn't he practicing? He's not injured. But at the same time, the Sixers are saying, we're not going to play a guy who hasn't practiced. Feels like we got a disconnect here.
He's actually lost 25 pounds. He's in great shape. There's no re-injury. So from the NBA's perspective and people around the league is, what's the issue with Joel Embiid? He just is not in shape. He hasn't practiced or played all training camp. So it would be malpractice if the Sixers threw him out there. It would lead to injury.
Right. Okay, I would agree. You can't just not have the guy practice and then play. But why is he not practicing? That's the big question. The Sixers want him healthy for the playoffs. The NBA league office, they don't see it that way. And again, we have another disconnect.
Clearly, this is where Joel Embiid feels like he needs to be in order to be healthy come playoff time. And let's see. That's when he needs to be healthy. That's when the Sixers need him to be healthy. But there is a flip side to all this, and that's the league's perspective and everyone that inhabits the league office.
We'll see. I mean, because if Embiid hasn't practiced yet, now you just heard what Sham said. He's lost 25 pounds. He looks like he's in great shape. He hasn't re-injured the knee. It sounds like the Sixers are saying, take your time, man. We'll get to you when we get to you. We got other more important things to deal with, like getting Paul George back on the floor, and it doesn't look like he will play tomorrow either. Why are the Eagles becoming a good team again? That's coming up next with John McMullen on the Sports Bash.
The World Series continues on ESPN Radio.
Freddie Freeman is over for the third straight game in this World Series.
The Dodgers make it 3 straight and push the Yankees to the brink of elimination. Game 4, the Dodgers and Yankees. Coverage begins tonight at 7 Eastern, with first pitch at 8 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
Listen to the World Series Game 4 tonight on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 7 p.m.
Brought to you by Shore Physicians Group. Be well connected. Visit shorephysiciansgroup.com.
Why would someone looking for a mortgage at the Jersey Shore take a loan from a company in Detroit or North Carolina or some other far-off place? Online mortgages promise a lot but don't always deliver. First Bank of Sea Isle City knows the Jersey Shore. We are local lenders. We use local appraisers and provide in-house processing. We understand the unique obstacles of financing in Cape May County. Don't take a chance. Local banking is better. Let us guide you. First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Did you know that Wendy's has any size soft drinks for just $1? Yeah, any size, anytime. Like $1 Coke, $1 Sprite, or even $1 strawberry Fanta. Okay, could we maybe switch up the sound effect, please? Because I'm losing it. Wow, no, not that. Any size soft drink for just $1? Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. A la carte only. Not valid in a combo. Exclusions apply.
For 75 years, Jenkins Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning has been the name you trust, where one call does it all. Jenkins expert technicians have been delivering top-notch service to local homeowners. Renovating your kitchen or bath? Call Jenkins. Need a new heating or air conditioning system, service or maintenance, or even ductless air conditioning? Jenkins has you covered. They also specialize in water heaters, boilers, oil service, plumbing and drain cleaning, water line, and sewer main repairs or replacements. Call 609-641-6262 or visit jenkinsandsons.com today.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, to check that your seats aren't in the visitor section first, before buying tickets.
I'm so excited for this game. I can't believe you got us tickets.
Me too. Wait, are we on the wrong side?
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
This is going to be a long game.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius, or 2 half geniuses, and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
With GMF financing, the qualified buyers excludes Traverse and Corvette excludes prior sales.
Need a car, truck, or SUV? Great! Get to Bennett Chevy, where you're going to get Bennett's best offers ever. You know Bennett sells new Chevys at the true GM supplier employee price, right? Well, right now, Bennett Chevrolet says, how'd you like to buy your new Chevy and pay $500 below the GM supplier employee price? Yes, $500 less than our employees. Plus, you keep all the rebates. That's up to 50% off the sticker. And with available 0% financing, you'll have incredibly low payments. And if you've got an old car to trade, right now you'll get a minimum $10,000 towards any pre-owned vehicle in stock. That's at least $10,000 for total junk. Imagine how much we'll pay for good trades. And wait till you experience Bennett's non-commissioned sales team. Paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend, so they'll make getting all these unbelievable deals even better. Together, let's drive Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Home of the Sports Bash with Mike Gill, 97.3 ESPN.
Ooh, that's good.
WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. Now live from inside the Ocean Casino Resort Studio, here's Mike Gill.
Let's not forget, they beat Green Bay week 1. This is a good football team. Everybody's trying to fire Sirianni a few weeks ago or a month ago or so. Talk about how bad he's a distraction. He gets his team going, man. Whether you like him or hate him, the guy gets his team moving forward. Everybody looks to last season. Last season's over, man. They have found a way to be productive. They're winning these games. This is a dangerous football team.
Jeff Saturday on why the Eagles are a good football team. He says the Eagles are a good football team because of Nick Sirianni. What kind of role did he have in the Eagles' win in Cincinnati? John, sometimes it gets lost in the sauce, right? When they lose, he's the problem. But what should we give Nick Sirianni credit for in the way they went on the road, handled business, and really beat up on that Cincinnati football team?
Yeah, I think you should juxtapose all those nut jobs earlier who are calling them the worst prepared team, the least prepared. There's so many of them. And then all of a sudden, it's funny. People are bipolar about this league. And 1 week you're the worst coach in the history of mankind, and the next week you're the reason they're winning games. Obviously, it's somewhere in between. But, yeah, I mean, the team likes him. The team plays for him. His record stands on itself. When Nick does get into trouble, I've said in the past, I'd point at the scoreboard. I'd point at his record, his resume. But he has a difficult time doing that, understandably so, when people are taking shots at you. But, yeah, I mean, he's been a very good NFL coach, and that doesn't mean you're going to win every week in this league.
No, it doesn't. But obviously when they lose, he gets a lot of criticism, and some of it, he brings on to himself. But, I thought one of the things is interesting. You've had this discussion with me on the air a bunch of times. The Eagles are going under center more. I looked at the last drive of the game. It's a 12-play drive. They went under center 7 times. Is this, this is something that they want to be more. They want to be able to run the ball out of that direction more. I know we talked a little bit about it yesterday, and there was questions asked about it, but I went back and looked and said 7 out of 12 plays on that last drive. Is that better for them in terms of running the football?
Yeah, and that's why they're doing it more. So, when they're in a position where they can run the football and they're playing from the lead, you'll see it more. Obviously, if they're behind, if it's a tight game even, you're probably going to see more of their personality, so to speak, and that's shotgun, pistol. But, yeah, I mean, the situation in the game dictates it. And, Nick's talked about that in the past. And for whatever reason, it's one of those things that a lot of people can't understand. And it's one of those things that I was talking about this on my show. So one of the things that makes me bang my head against the wall, to me, it's common sense. You know, if you're ahead by 2 scores late, you know, you're going to get a bunch of running plays. And if you're behind by 10 points, 7 points, even in a tie game, you're going to see more of their traditional personality. For whatever reason, you know, I'm not going to win that argument. People aren't going to figure that out. And it's one of those things, Mike, where you see, you know, the next game they lose, they might throw it 40 times. And they're going to point back to Cincinnati and say, here, they should do this because this was successful in Cincinnati. You know, it doesn't make sense. It's like if they're up by that amount, they're going to do that. But if they're not, and the best thing Nick Sirianni said this week is when he was talking about success, he says success takes what it takes. And if you got to throw it 40 times, you got to find a way to win. If you can lean back in the rocking chair and do what they did late against Cincinnati, you do that. But it's going to be different depending on the personality of the game. You can't just say, all right, we're going to play like this every single game the rest of the year. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah, and I mean, I was talking to Colin Thompson about this last hour about when your team does something well 1 week or 2 weeks, you know, do you keep that play in the playbook? Do you throw it out? I mean, how does that kind of work where you find something that you start to do well? Because other teams will start to see what you do well, and then they practice and prepare for that. So it is a big chess match.
Yeah, and Kellen was talking about that a little bit today. You got your, you know, staples, and everybody's got their staples and things you do really well, and obviously you default to them in big situations. But when it comes to words like identity and balance and run-pass ratio and all that, and people want to look at the box score and say, oh, okay, you should do this. And the game's personality defines what that looks like each week. So it's not a chicken or an egg. It's one clearly defines the other consistently throughout the league, not just Philadelphia.
Yeah.
If you're up big, there's 2 things. If you're up big in a game, there's 2 things that are going to happen. You're either going to run the football to get out of there, or you're going to run up the score and look like a you-know-what. That's it. 2 things are going to happen.
So this team right now, we've talked a lot about it. You hinted at it yesterday. You know, it seems that they're getting more comfortable with their new coordinators, right? I mean, is that something where they are right now? Is the defense feels better, the terminology is better, the offense feels better, they like the terminology better? We're watching a team kind of just grow more comfortable.
Yeah, well, sure. I mean, that's part of it, certainly. And the players are playing well. I mean, I asked Vic that today, Vic Fangio, and I gave him a chance to, you know, pump himself up. And he, you know, to his credit, I asked him, you know, especially with the younger players, is that just them getting better in the system, or is it you sort of finding out what they do well and playing to their strengths? And he said, it's some of both. There's some to that, to the latter, but most of it, he said 75%. He said 75%, 75-25 is the players. And they're playing well right now. And, you know, if that turns into consistency, then you'll have a really good football team. But even guys like, you know, Fred Johnson against Trey Hendrickson, we all looked at that matchup on paper and said, uh-oh. And Fred played great. And we all looked at, you know, tight end without Dallas Goedert and said, uh-oh. And here's Grant Calcaterra making plays down the field. Can that be consistent from week to week? Well, probably not. You want to get Dallas back as quickly as possible. You want to get Jordan Mailata back as quickly as possible. But if you play well on a particular Sunday, everything's going to look good. It doesn't necessarily translate to the next week. depending on the opponent, depending on a lot of things. And the Eagles have, they drew a good draw this week. Jacksonville's not only struggling as a football team, they're also maybe going to be down their top 3 receivers. So this is another week where they can take advantage.
What is up with receivers in this league? I mean, my gosh, you just saw Stephon Diggs is out, Nico Collins is out. You got injuries everywhere. You got receivers getting traded. Deontay Johnson just got traded. I find like Tuesday is going to be a very interesting day with that position.
Yeah, well, and so many of the receivers have already gone. Another one won today. Deontay Johnson got traded to Baltimore. So, yeah, I mean, there's not too many left to pry away, at least meaningful. But, sometimes those things happen and trends happen for whatever reason. But, yeah, there have been a lot of teams, and the Eagles lost A.J. Brown for a number of games, and it didn't look good. So hopefully that's been the one thing about the Eagles' injuries. Even Jordan Mailata on injured reserve might take 5 weeks, but at least they're not season-ending injuries. The Giants lost Andrew Thomas at left tackle.
Yeah.
The Vikings lost Christian Darrisaw at left tackle for the season. So at least, the Eagles' injuries have been multi-week instead of season-ending. So that's always a positive.
Vic Fangio was asked about a trade. He basically said, nope. You wrote about Sirianni. He says, I love this team. But everybody seems to be making moves. It's a new NFL. So do the Eagles have one up their sleeves here?
Howie likes to do things. So I would say,
because it sounded like Fangio, John, correct me if I'm wrong, he kind of insinuated like the trades that they've made in the past, they don't work. Don't get me a guy that's here for a year and then he's on his way out. If you're going to make a trade, get me like Montez Sweat where he's here this year and then in the future, like those kind of trades. Like it seems like Fangio is basically saying, if you're going to get me a guy that's going to be a part of my defense for a couple of years, not just 8 games.
Yeah, and he also, mentioned the positions as well. Inside linebacker probably not going to work out midway through the season. Safety, you saw last year with Kevin Byard. That's not a position. This is not a plug-and-play league. This is not, baseball. You go out and it's hitter versus pitcher, and you can plug in and do the same thing, and whether it's San Diego or Philadelphia, the next day, you do the same thing. It's a lot different in football, and he mentioned maybe corners are a little easier, maybe edge rusher, and that's the position, edge rusher. But there's a lot of complications to the thought process of bringing in an edge rusher, if you can even get one. And I'm not talking about Myles Garrett, that's silly, or even Max Crosby. But, Josh Uche, he went yesterday. That was a name I looked at and said, well, maybe he could be an upgrade for the Eagles. But the problem is you paid Bryce Huff $51 million. Are you going to bench him?
Right. Yeah, because that's like the domino effect of bringing in another pass rusher is now you have to do 2 things. You have to give something away to get him and then admit that you made a mistake of the one that you brought in here.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously the Eagles have proven you can do anything. They can cut Bryce Huff even with a big number and take the medicine. Jeffrey Lurie's proven he's willing to do that, but it's never a good look. It's certainly what you don't necessarily want to do it. So yeah, it's complicated. I don't think they need help at corner. Even we'll see Slay. How he is. We'll get a better indication of that tomorrow, but it certainly didn't seem from his own perspective that it's going to be a season-ending thing, so he'll be back. And then if he's back, you got pretty good depth. You saw Isaiah Rodgers make a big play, and Kaylee Ringo and Eli Ricks. That's the reason you have these guys. Sidney Brown alleviates some of the need for depth at safety. He looks good. 100%. Linebacker, it's unproven, but I think the Eagles are high on Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Norton Burks is a veteran who's played on good defenses in Green Bay and San Francisco. So I don't see a lot of need, but I also know Howie, and Howie likes to do things. So
Yeah.
it wouldn't surprise me if he makes a move just to make a move, but I don't think it's going to be a flashy move.
Right, and it's like they already traded for a receiver, and that didn't work out. Do you go back down that road? Because they seem everybody seems to be moving receivers. I mean, or if they did add something, is it to the offense? Is it the defense they think needs to be better? I'd love to hear how they're kind of looking at this team right now.
Well,
Because
I was thinking maybe they needed some depth at tight end, but here's all of a sudden Calcaterra showing up, and now he looks good. Are you going to be able to acquire anybody who's better than Grant? Offensive line, same thing. You're saying, well, maybe they could use some depth on the offensive line, and all of a sudden Fred Johnson's shutting down Trey Hendrickson, and Tyler Steen's out there, playing decent football at right guard, and you still got Jack Driscoll back as well, and you say, are you going to be able to get anybody better than those guys midway through the season?
Right.
Probably not. So
it would be interesting. It would be interesting, John. I don't know. Do you think Mailata will be back when he's eligible?
Well, I don't, but I think he's going to be back. I don't have the schedule in front of me, but it's the Thursday game,
Washington,
which is and then there's the mini bye. So I would think you would wait until after that.
Yeah.
Give him an extra 10 days or whatever.
Well, what I was going towards was if Fred Johnson was struggling a little bit, if you kept Steen at right guard and put Becton out there, because now you're going to have this whole thing where everyone's like, I think you might have said it yesterday, or maybe it was Jeff Mosher who said, there's not a lot of difference between the way Steen's playing and Becton's playing right now. Like those two guys have been almost identical.
Well, you're definitely not doing it this week because Fred shut down Trey Hendrickson. So, I do expect Mackay back this week, and he'll be the right guard. The Eagles are very happy with him. If it were a season-ending injury to Jordan, I think they would move Becton to left tackle. But Fred's gotten the opportunity, and he's certainly making the most of it. Now he struggled at right tackle. He's a natural left tackle. So for whatever reason, he's more comfortable on the left side. He's playing better on the left side. Right now, there's no reason to move him. But, if he has a terrible game, he can always go down that route. It's sort of – but, just knowing Stoutland as long as I have, he doesn't like those moving parts. And, we'll see how it shakes out. He's done it both ways in the past. If you have to do it, he'll do it. But – it's evident he doesn't want to do it yet, so we'll see how it shakes out.
What's the latest, if anything, on Goddard?
I saw him walking out of the locker room last week. He's moving fine. So it's a hamstring injury. AJ missed 3 weeks. He might miss one more week. He might be back this week, but I don't think it's anything more serious than that. So he'll be back relatively soon. It's tough. I mean, Nick has morphed into just giving no information on injuries, which is disappointing. But so we have to wait till the practice status and see who's out there and get the reports and actually, talk to the players. And injured players don't go in the locker room. So.
Is it possible, though, that he would play this week?
Yeah, it's possible.
Okay.
I mean, I saw him last week, as I said, and he was moving around well. But I'll have a better indication of that tomorrow. If he's not practicing tomorrow, it's not a good sign. But if he's out there, even if it's in a limited fashion, ramp up type thing, that would be a good sign.
Have they seen and liked enough from Calcaterra that they add some wrinkles to that and use both of those guys?
Yeah, they play 12 all the time.
I mean, it almost feels that he trusts him more than he does Dotson, obviously. I mean, Dotson, my Lord.
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles have played a ton of 12 dating back to week one. Kellen likes using two tight ends. And yeah, they don't utilize. That's why the people. Yeah, you're not doubling down to acquire another receiver. They can't even get the receiver they got to football. So the last thing you want to do is bring in another one. They just don't get the football to that third receiver. It's been a multi-year, multi-player thing. So it's not just the players. You look at Olamide Zaccheaus making plays in Washington. He made a great play that got called back. I don't know if you saw it in that Chicago game. And unfortunately it got called back for him. But yeah, I mean, they don't have a lot of traffic to give to the third receiver.
No. They threw the ball 20 times last week.
Yeah, and the vast majority of it's going to AJ and Devontae. But you're going to see 40 throw games. Probably not this week because Jacksonville's bad.
Jacksonville hung in there last week.
They're winning game. Well, yeah, but they lost Christian Kirk and it looks like they lost Brian Thomas. So they're down, and Gabe Davis is probably not going to play. So they're going to be down to their fourth and fifth receivers. Not if those guys were out there, have a different thought process. Still think the Eagles would win the game, but it would be much more difficult.
Yeah.
Without those guys, who's Trevor Lawrence throwing to? I mean, it's a big issue for Jacksonville this week, and they're hopeful Brian Thomas will play, but if he does, he's certainly not going to be 100%. They're just up against it this week. But yeah, don't translate blowouts to close games because you're going to be disappointed.
No doubt.
They won the game by 20 points. They won the Giants game by 25 points.
Giants hung in there last night.
That they did. But what I'm saying is they're going to throw the ball. That's what I was talking about at the beginning of the conversation. You can't just say, oh, you threw it 20 times against Cincinnati, throw it 20 times against Jacksonville and Dallas and Washington and the Los Angeles Rams and every team coming up, because one of those teams, I don't know which one of those teams is going to put up a fight. And you're going to have to make some plays in the passing game.
John McMullen, of course, Birds 365, Sports Illustrated. Tomorrow you can check me out on Birds 365 at 8:20, and we'll talk some more Eagles there as they get ready for Jacksonville and the Jaguars. Doug Peterson, you think NBC wishes they would reflex the game back?
No, but I do think they would have, they didn't flex a great game in because
we got Flacco now at least.
Flacco's playing. Minnesota's kind of fallen apart over the 5-day span. It doesn't look as good. But this, this is going to be a blowout. So I don't think they're going to be disappointed in flexing this game out. But that's just circumstance. Again, imagine the Eagles if they were down A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Jahan Dotson. You already saw two, and not that Jahan has done anything, but then you're down to Anaya Smith and Johnny Wilson. I don't think you'd like to see the Eagles offense with Anaya Smith and Johnny Wilson.
A little more Will Shipley, though, maybe.
Hey, Will almost had a touchdown called back. Nick Gates with the holding call. That was the legit holding call, but Tyler Steens was kind of ticky-tack.
All right, buddy. We'll catch up tomorrow. John's off here tomorrow, but I'll be talking to him tomorrow on his show, 8:20 on Birds 365. All right, bud. We'll talk to you then.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
All right. The Eagles' new schedule has kind of flipped our schedule upside down. So no John tomorrow here on the Sports Bash because the Eagles practice at 3 o'clock. More of your text messages coming up at 609-403-0973, 609-403-0973 on the text board. McMullen, by the way, is brought to you by Boardwalk Honda. Shop their lineup of new pre-owned and certified pre-owned Hondas online at boardwalkhonda.com. Remember, that game's at 4 o'clock this week instead of the Sunday night football game. That's what we were referencing there at the end. This hour of the show is brought to you by Broadlee's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, your trusted source for heating, plumbing service, and installation for generations. Call 609-390-3907, online broadlees.net. Yeah, I laid down last night. It was hot. I had to turn the air down. We're getting this crazy weather. So I had the fan going. And, of course, you have the whole she's hot or she's cold, I'm hot, all that stuff. So last night, going back and forth with the air. Now, like right now in this room, I was hot before. Now it's chilling off a little bit. What's it, like 75 degrees out tomorrow? 78 degrees tomorrow.
Yeah, it's supposed to get up to 80 tomorrow. For those who don't know, this studio fluctuates temperatures more than any other environment I've ever worked in, Mike.
Nah, it's better than it used to be.
Oh, it's better than it used to be, but it still requires me to keep a hooded sweatshirt in studio at all times.
Yeah, I'm going hoodie today for the first time in a while, but I'm a little warm. Might have to take the hoodie off.
Problem is, then in about an hour, it'll be cold again.
Change it. Coming up, we're ranking the NFC contenders, plus who's hot, who's cold. Me. Both. That's all still to come. One thought every game. Casey Joyner on the Sports Bash live on 97.3 ESPN, the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, live video on the X platform, YouTube, at Mike Gill Show. Subscribe.
You're listening to the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Into savings, Sage Jewelers, the real jeweler, is offering the latest in diamond jewelry.
Sage Jewelers has GIA diamonds and the most exquisite diamond engagement rings. Come see the selection of lab-grown diamond and fashion jewelry, all up to 40% off. Plus, the Sage Jewelers watch selection is second to none.
Sage Jewelers expert jewelers can also customize anything.
Sage Jewelers, your fall into savings headquarters, all up to 40% off on Tilton Road in Northfield.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, to check you have a full tank of gas first, before road tripping through the desert.
Empty? Seriously? Maybe I can walk.
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
Maybe I can't.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-791-1313. That's 800-791-1313.
Paid for by Wesley Financial Group.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
When you want experience, go for the best. Pick up the phone and call Dennisville Fence.
Hey, South Jersey homeowners. Autumn is here and fall season means fence season. Are you dreaming of a new fence or railing, but you don't want to break the bank? Our pro tip of the day, install in the fall for big savings. As your exclusive Active Yards dealer, you can choose from our inventory of privacy, decorative, security, and pull fence solutions by Active Yards. No matter what your needs are, we have a high-quality, maintenance-free Active Yard solution that is right for you. Don't miss our Install in the Fall savings coupled with our no-money-down, interest-free financing, so together we can make your dream a reality. So give us a call today or go online to DennisvilleFence.com to request a free estimate, and be sure to mention that you want to install in the fall.
Go with experience, go for the best. Pick up the phone and call Dennisville Fence. 1-800-499-FENCE.
Visit DennisvilleFence.com.
Get your holidays started with the perfect tree in your perfect style from the Home Depot. Whether you want something that you can assemble in a few clicks, steal the show with over 2,000 color-changing bulbs, or a tree with lights that can be controlled by remote or foot pedal. The Home Depot has it all in our huge assortment of premium trees. Plus, get free delivery on over 2 million items this holiday from the Home Depot. Subject to availability. See homedepot.com/delivery for details.
It's time to review the top 3 highlights of the day. I'm joined as always by my co-anchor Snoop.
Hey, what up, though?
Snoop, number 1 has to be getting the new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence at T-Mobile.
Yeah, you should hustle down to T-Mobile like a dog chasing a squirrel chasing a nut.
Nice analogy, Snoop. Dogs do love to chase squirrels.
And squirrels love to chase those nuts.
On to highlight number 2, at T-Mobile, families can save 20% every month versus the other big guys.
That is very impressive. You know, y'all can take some of those savings and buy some Snoop merchandise.
That's exactly what I'm planning on doing with my savings, Snoop. Now, take it away, Snoop.
Head to T-Mobile.com and get the new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on them. Now drop that jingle.
Eligible trade-in on Go 5G Next. Well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 connection charge. Cancel entire account before receiving 24 bill credits, and credit stop and balance on required finance agreement too. Bill credits end if you pay off device early. See how you can save versus the other big guys at T-Mobile.com/switch. Apple Intelligence coming fall 2024.
With GMF financing, the qualified buyers excludes Traverse and Corvette excludes prior sales.
Need a car, truck, or SUV? Great! Get to Bennett Chevy, where you're going to get Bennett's best offers ever. You know Bennett sells new Chevys at the true GM supplier employee price, right? Well, right now, Bennett Chevrolet says, how'd you like to buy your new Chevy and pay $500 below the GM supplier employee price? Yes, $500 less than our employees. Plus, you keep all the rebates. That's up to 15% off the sticker. And with available 0% financing, you'll have incredibly low payments. And if you've got an old car to trade, right now you'll get a minimum $10,000 towards any pre-owned vehicle in stock. That's at least $10,000 for total junk. Imagine how much we'll pay for good trades. And wait till you experience Bennett's non-commissioned sales team. Paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. So they'll make getting all these unbelievable deals even better. Together, let's drive. Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
You're listening to the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
And it just keeps getting better.
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
I'm not picking them over Detroit. I don't think anybody will take them over Detroit.
No.
The way Detroit's running the football, I think Detroit's slightly better than what the Eagles are defensively. They run the ball with that two-headed monster, Gibbs and Montgomery. They got a plethora of weapons. Jamison Williams is going to be back in another game, and you get him with St. Brown. You got Laporta. They're a really good offensive line. It's solid. Now, Philly has a great offensive line also.
Shannon Sharp comparing the Eagles and the Lions. He's not wrong. I think the Lions are right now just a more complete team. I think they've been together a little bit more. This is a team that has kind of grown together the last 2 seasons. Barkley's new for the Eagles. Obviously, the Eagles have a couple new offensive line spots. But are they so far apart? 609-403-0973, 609-403-0973. Would you guys say that the Lions are head and shoulders better? Let's take a look at some of the NFC contenders right now. When we look at the NFC, he said, look, Detroit. But is he suggesting that Philadelphia is the next team? That's what the discussion really was, is how far are these two teams? It made me kind of be like, huh. I brought this up yesterday. I'm saying, is it so far-fetched where these two teams are in the pantheon? I think we all just assume that it's Detroit and then there's a drop-off. And I don't think that that's wrong, but how do we stack up the NFC right now? If you were to say the playoffs were to start right now, we're halfway through the year, so you can start to look at these things a little bit. We're going to do who's hot, who's cold coming up in about 9 minutes from now. But right now, if the playoffs were to start today, Detroit, they would be the bye. Washington, as the division champion, would be playing Philadelphia. Atlanta would be playing Minnesota. And Arizona, as the West champion, would be playing Green Bay. And Detroit would be the winner, Philadelphia the 7. So there would be a possibility that Washington and Philly would play in that first game, and the winner, if Philadelphia won, they would be playing Detroit in the second game in that divisional round game. And you're looking at a matchup where you obviously don't want to be in that spot. So the NFC Pantheon right now, does it sound like they're the 7 best teams? Detroit, Washington, Atlanta, Arizona, Green Bay, Minnesota, Philadelphia. The teams on the outside looking in would be Tampa, San Francisco, Chicago, Seattle, the Rams, Dallas, New Orleans. If we were having this conversation after 2 weeks, you'd be like, New Orleans is in, Dallas is in, Seattle, San Francisco. Like, it's crazy how differently you feel a couple of weeks later, but it doesn't feel that the 7 best teams are in right now.
I don't think Arizona can maintain the record they have right now. I think they were fortunate to play some teams with a lot of injuries earlier this year. Remember, when they played the Rams and when they played the 49ers, both those teams were incredibly injured, and both of the Rams and 49ers are getting healthier now. So I think of the teams you named, I think the Cardinals are probably the least likely to hang on.
I feel like we feel like that because this is one of those teams that was worst to first, and usually there's a worst to first, and right now you have 2 of them. You have Washington and you have Arizona. Are we prejudging Arizona and not giving them the credit they deserved?
To me, the difference between Washington and Arizona is that Washington is a better football team. They have better talent up and down the roster. I think Arizona has been in a Styles-Mike fight situation. They've been taken advantage of, which they should do, but for a team with a defensive head coach, it's not like Arizona's defense is doing anything special.
No, their defense is not very good. In fact, right now you take a look at where they sit in the pantheon of the plus-minus game, which I think is one to kind of look at a lot of times. They are a minus 27. That is not very good. They are a minus 27, which is they've given up 205 points defensively. They obviously struggle defensively, but are they one of these teams like Philadelphia that's going to be growing into their defense as the season goes on here?
No, because there's only 3 teams that have allowed more points than them, and one of them is not Philadelphia. So,
Philadelphia's defense, 132, is one of the best in the league.
Right. So my point is that you have one team that has shown you at least flashes.
Yeah, it's the best in the East, 132.
The Eagles also have allowed the fewest points in the last 3 games in the NFL.
In the NFC, they have given up the 3rd. Now, they've played 1 less game than some of these teams, so keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
They already did have the bye. But they're 132. If you just look at, flat-out points against, right now, the points against, Philadelphia is 6th in the league in points against. Chargers are first, 91.
Which is insane because...
And they have played 7. Well, no, they played 1 less.
They played 1 less, yeah, but the Chargers are just a team that nobody expected their defense to be that good.
Yeah, they have this great defense out of nowhere. Pittsburgh is 119. Chicago's 119. Denver's 120. The Chiefs are 123, and Philadelphia is 132, and then Detroit's 134. Philadelphia and Detroit have each played 7 games because they both have had their byes already.
Which brings us back to the Detroit question. So if Detroit is supposed to be the best team in the NFC, can we make an argument for the Eagles to eventually be number 2?
I think right now in the NFC, I think you can make a case for Philadelphia being the 2nd best team behind Detroit. Because I don't know that there's a definitive number 2. You might say that's ridiculous, and I might say I'm not. I just feel like you could say that Philadelphia is the 2nd best team in the NFC, and you would not be
crazy.
I don't think there's much of an argument that you could say you're out of your mind. It's either Washington, Green Bay, Minnesota, Philadelphia. If you want to throw Atlanta in there, if you kind of think San Francisco will come through all these injuries and want to throw them into the mix. But really, of the teams I just mentioned, Detroit's 1. Who's a definitive 2? Washington, Green Bay, Minnesota, Atlanta, Chicago, Arizona, Tampa Bay, San Francisco, Seattle. They're the teams with winning records.
San Francisco is probably the most interesting conversation because they are the only team in the NFC West with a plus point differential, like a plus 28. And we know that they have found ways to score and win games with multiple guys injured. Now, yes, they got to play the rest of the year with no Brandon Ayuk. McCaffrey, according to reports, could be coming back next week. Not this coming week, but He'll be back on the practice field. They're going to open his practice window next week. So, if the 49ers can maintain, they could definitely be there in the conversation for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and everybody, you take a look at their schedules, okay, and say, all right, who have they played? Washington has wins against the Giants, the Bengals. They did blast the Cardinals. They beat the Browns. They beat the Panthers. And they beat Chicago. Any of those wins stand out as impressive? The 2 games they lost to Tampa, and they lost to Baltimore.
I thought they were actually impressive in the Baltimore loss because they showed that they weren't afraid. They didn't go in there being like, oh, man, these are the Ravens. That's Lamar Jackson. Like, they didn't have that attitude.
Well, I would agree with that. I would also say they don't really have a win. And by the way, they don't have a team on the schedule that stands out. Here's what they got coming up.
You're talking about Washington, right?
This is Washington's second half. They're at New York, Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh was probably going to beat them.
At Philadelphia.
That's going to be a fun game.
Dallas.
They'll beat Dallas.
Tennessee.
Is it the game on Thanksgiving, by the way?
Yeah. Tennessee.
Right.
At the Saints.
Now, will Derek Carr be back by then?
Carr's supposed to play this week.
He is supposed to play. So if he's healthy then...
That would tell me December 15th he should be back.
Unless he gets injured again.
Well, yes. But your question was, will he be back by then?
Well, my question is, if he's back, does that change?
No, they're the rest. I mean, their offense is a disjointed mess now. The Eagles, Atlanta, and then at Dallas. I mean, they really don't have a game, Washington, on that schedule that you're like, Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh is definitely one.
That's it. Pittsburgh and Atlanta would be the next best team. Philadelphia twice.
Right.
And Atlanta.
Is the Atlanta game in Atlanta?
It's at Washington.
Okay, so that changes things because now you're taking Kirk Cousins out of the dome and putting him in the elements.
Yep, December 29th they're playing the Falcons. So really, I mean, they have the Steeler game is also in Washington.
That concerns me less because Steelers are an outdoor team.
Right, I'm saying if you're telling me the Steelers are the best team they play the rest of the way, they really are not going to be challenged much here.
Are you saying we should maybe play some side bets on Washington to win the division?
I mean, they're 6-2 right now. And I would tell you right there with that schedule, Washington's schedule the rest of the way, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think they win minimally 5 more games. That gets them to 11.
Is 11 enough to win the division?
It's going to get you in the ballpark, obviously. I mean, if you play 11 for them, and listen, they have 6 right now at the Giants. I mean, you're on the road at the Giants. The Giants have played a little bit better. They got all their weapons kind of back, but
they can beat them.
I think they win that game. Home against the Steelers. All right, I'll give the Steelers that one. At Philadelphia on a Thursday night.
They probably lose that game.
Okay, I figure they'll split with the Eagles.
Right.
At home against Dallas. That's the Thanksgiving game. That can't be at Washington.
I'll say that's probably at Dallas, isn't it?
Yeah, why does it say it's at home on 11/24? Maybe it's not on Thanksgiving then. Are they playing the Cowboys on Thanksgiving this year?
That is not Thanksgiving.
No, it's not Thanksgiving. If the game's in Washington, I can figure that out for myself.
No, but I'm saying that's Sunday, November 24th.
Right. Dallas on Thanksgiving. Who are they playing on Thanksgiving this year?
I'm pulling up the Cowboys schedule here.
Washington on the 24th plays Dallas. Who is Dallas playing on Thanksgiving?
Are they maybe playing the Giants?
Must be, because I thought it was an NFC East game. That's why when you said, is that game on? Yeah, they're
playing the Giants.
When you said, are they playing Washington on Thanksgiving? I knew they were playing an NFC East game. I guess it's the Giants. Great. We get to watch the Cowboys and Giants on Thanksgiving. I can't wait.
That's the point where you let.
When are we going to be like? Remember what it was? Can we get Dallas off of Detroit off of Thanksgiving? Right. When are we going to be? Can we get Dallas off of Thanksgiving, please?
That would. I just look at that game as the time to take a nap, Mike. That's nap time game.
All right, so let's go.
I thank the NFL for scheduling my nap for me on Thanksgiving.
The power rankings, ESPN.com right now has the Chiefs 1, Detroit 2. Who do you think's 3?
Ravens?
No. The Ravens just lost.
I mean, you could argue that the Chiefs are not the best team, and they're undefeated.
Yeah, but it's generally when you put these power rankings together, you're not taking a team that just lost and putting them ahead of teams that are all right there with you and won. I can see if the Ravens lost for their first time.
Well, I'm not a follower, Mike.
Okay, well, that's why you didn't get this right.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, who would you, now? The third one is, and by the way, the Ravens are not even in the top 5.
Really?
No.
Wow. Someone donkey kicked them out of there. Wow.
Well, I agree with those people. You can't lose to the Browns.
It's true.
And your other losses to the Raiders at home.
Would the Eagles
I mean, so that would be a slap in the face of the other teams that you're saying, you're telling me that you think that team's better than what we're doing and they just lost to Cleveland?
So how about the Steelers?
Steelers are, no. They're number 8.
I'm trying to think of a team that's got more wins. I mean, it can't be Washington.
Washington is number 7.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which is behind Baltimore, number 6. There's 3 teams ahead of Baltimore.
Where are the Eagles there?
The Eagles are currently in the power rankings number 10.
That seems really low. But okay, I'll play along. So then who would be 3?
I mean, it's a team that I don't really give a lot of credit to. I just, but.
The Vikings?
No, they're 5. No, I mean, they are, the Vikings are 9, right ahead of Philadelphia.
Wow, the Eagles even behind the Vikings. A little disrespect going on there.
Yeah, Vikings lost 2 in a row, and Philadelphia's won 3 in a row. I do find like that one's a little odd, but
yeah, that's definitely odd.
One's 9, one's 10, whatever. Como se, como sa.
Buffalo.
Buffalo's 3.
Okay.
Yep, Buffalo's 3. They were 3 last week, by the way, so they did not move. The one that's number 4, Green Bay.
That's way too high.
I mean, they've won 4 in a row, and they keep doing it with, the quarterback gets hurt, he leaves the game, they still keep winning. I mean,
Philadelphia's won 3 in a row, but they're 10.
Yep. And Philadelphia beat Green Bay on a neutral field.
I feel like there's a bit of a disparity in these rankings here.
Well, there you go. That's the rankings and the NFC hierarchy. Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN, the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
We've learned today, Mike, that Josh is bad at guessing ESPN power rankings.
I would concur. Sports Bash is brought to you by this hour, Broadlee's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, your trusted source for heating, air conditioning, cooling for generations. Call them at 609-390-3907, online at broadlees.net. The text board will stay open, 609-403-0973. I got Who's Hot, Who's Cold coming up. My 14 NFL playoff teams. I will narrow them down. Very difficult to do, but I will try my best. Coming up next.
The World Series continues on ESPN Radio.
It's over for the 3rd straight game in this World Series.
The Dodgers make it 3 straight and push the Yankees to the brink of elimination. Game 4 of the Dodgers and Yankees. Coverage begins tonight at 7 Eastern, with first pitch at 8 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Listen to the World Series Game 4 tonight on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 7 p.m.
Brought to you by Shore Physicians Group. Be well connected. Visit shorephysiciansgroup.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Getting ready for more rain and longer nights? We've got you. Right now, you can earn up to $25 in bonus rewards when you buy 2 Sylvania Silver Star Ultra bulbs and 2 Rain-X Quantum Elite wiper blades. More rewards and better visibility at America's #1 lighting destination, AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Offer valid for AutoZone Rewards members. Restrictions apply.
Did you know that Wendy's has any size soft drinks for just $1? Yeah, any size, anytime. Like $1 Coke, $1 Sprite, or even $1 strawberry Fanta. Okay, could we maybe switch up the sound effect, please? Because I'm losing it. Wow, no, not that. Any size soft drink for just $1? Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. A la carte only. Not valid in a combo. Exclusions apply.
For 75 years, Jenkins Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning has been the name you trust, where one call does it all. Jenkins' expert technicians have been delivering top-notch service to local homeowners. Renovating your kitchen or bath? Call Jenkins. Need a new heating or air conditioning system, service or maintenance, or even ductless air conditioning? Jenkins has you covered. They also specialize in water heaters, boilers, oil service, plumbing and drain cleaning, water line, and sewer main repairs or replacements. Call 609-641-6262 or visit jenkinsandsons.com today.
No two people learn the exact same way. So how did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? We thought of you, all of you. Take Sierra. As a visual learner, she uses Babbel's wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping in French.
Merci beaucoup. Heath is a be in the room with real people kind of learner. So he loves the live online classes with our language experts.
Okay, class. Vos está pronto.
Estamos prontos.
However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Fall into savings. Sage Jewelers, the real jeweler, is offering the latest in diamond jewelry.
Sage Jewelers has GIA diamonds and the most exquisite diamond engagement rings. Come see the selection of lab-grown diamond and fashion jewelry, all up to 40% off. Plus, the Sage Jewelers watch selection is second to none.
Sage Jewelers expert jewelers can also customize anything.
Sage Jewelers, your fall into savings headquarters, all up to 40% off on Tilton Road in Northfield.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Black Nissan.
New 2024 Nissan Rogue S. 0 down and 2.9% financing for 60 months. But when they're gone, they're gone. Have a trade? Bring it to AJ the Trade Man. He's paying cash. Lots of cash. Up to 120% more cash than KBB fair market value. Then drive home in your new 2025 Matt Black Nissan Kicks. Just $299 per month lease with 0 security deposits. And every new Matt Black Nissan comes with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Have a job clearing for $50 per week at Matt Black Nissan. You're virtually approved today with 0 down and low 2.9% financing. MattBlackNissan.com. Unapproved Tier 1 credit for new Matt. Negative equity will be refinanced into new vehicle plus tax tag and $589 fee. Offers can't be combined. Call 877-289-6670 or go to MattBlackNissan.com for complete details. 24 months, 10,000 miles, $27.99 due through NEMAC. VIN RC 738396. MSRP 31,115. It's on at Matt Black Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
What's better than one win? 3 wins. With Straight Savings, you keep your own phone, get one line for only $25 a month with real unlimited data, and get rewarded with a $200 phone credit after 12 months. It's a win-win-win. Head to Walmart or visit straighttalk.com today. Switch to Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Straight Savings Plan enrollment requires compatible unlocked device and new line of service. Bonus device credit requires 12 months of active service. Offer ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. Taxes and fees apply. For network management practices, see Straight Talk's terms and conditions.
Go to get your game on at the Gallery Bar Book and Games at Ocean Casino Resort. Cheers your favorite drinks while cheering on your favorite team. Get in on the parlay while in the middle of a party. Go for the sports scene and go for the endless screams. Go to the Gallery. Go to the Fanatic Sportsbook. Go for the win at Ocean Casino Resort. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. Must be 21 or older to wager or consume alcohol. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
It's the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
All right, Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. Who's hot, who's cold? Brought to you by Ace Hardware, home service, heating, cooling, and plumbing. The helpful team is now making house calls in South Jersey. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services.com to book today. They are our official sponsor of Monday Night Football. All right, who's hot, who's cold? This is not easy, but I'll do my best. Here we go. Are you ready?
Do it.
East. AFC, Bills.
Same.
That one's not really all that difficult. The next best team is 2-5. They're 6-2, so they're going to win that division. I'm going Baltimore in the North. That's a little bit more difficult. You got Baltimore and Pittsburgh.
Right.
I actually am going Indianapolis here. With Joe Flacco now the quarterback, I believe in the Colts, and the injuries to the Texans worry me enough. They got a real quarterback now. That other guy was horrible. I mean, Richardson had no business playing NFL quarterback at any level, on any team.
Win the division's a big leap, though.
They're 2 games back. If Richardson did not play the game on Sunday, Houston would have won that. Indianapolis would have won that game.
Maybe.
Richardson is so bad. To complete, you got to be – it's impressively bad to complete in the 30 percentile of your passes, and
True.
that's where he was.
True.
I fully backed that he got benched. He had no business getting drafted in the first round to begin with. That's a joke. And the fact that he was handed a job for no reason other than he was a first-round pick. He reaps what he sows. He tapped out of the game, and now he's done. I'm happy to see that. Kansas City wins the West. Wild cards. Pittsburgh. Oh, jeez. The rest of these teams. Pittsburgh, Houston, and I'm going to go with Denver.
We got the same teams, but just in different places.
Denver. I can't believe I'm picking Denver because their defense is really good and their offense is coming around. Bo Nix has surprised me a little bit. 8 touchdowns, 4 rushing. Philadelphia in the East, Detroit in the North, Atlanta in the South. I don't know what's going on in the West. I'm going to go with San Francisco. And my wild cards are Washington, Green Bay, Minnesota.
I got Seahawks instead of Vikings.
Wow. All right, that's Who's Hot, Who's Cold, brought to you by Ace Hardware Home Services, heating, cooling, and plumbing. The helpful team is now making house calls in South Jersey. Visit acehardwarehomeservices.com to book today, our official sponsor of Monday Night Football on 97.3.
This is South Jersey's official home for Philadelphia Eagles football. The Eagles host the Jacksonville Jaguars in Week 9 of the 2024 season, Sunday afternoon.
And he's brought down for a loss by the team. What a play by the rookie.
Listen to all the action with Merrill Reese and Mike Quick, with pregame coverage starting at 3 p.m. and kickoff at 4 p.m. This is the play-by-play home of the Philadelphia Eagles, 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's Eagles station.
So my home is also my office, and before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up and spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day.
Breathe, Febreze.
So this new dose is, nope, it's not it. The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green? Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help. Walgreens.
All right, gentlemen, this is Emmett Smith on behalf of Depend, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing kit. Because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable, and one blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, Depend is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, Depend is donating 40 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for Depend Shield Guards Real Fit products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $300,000 void in Mississippi.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient, from Lucky Larry's Landscaping, Larry! Larry saved his business money with a quick commercial auto quote from Progressive. Does it help he's his own marketing manager, accountant, executive assistant, and never been late? Technically, yes, but saving really put him over the edge. So, Larry, give Larry a round of applause. Be your own Larry. See if you could save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
What's better than one win? 3 wins. With Straight Savings, you keep your own phone, get one line for only $25 a month with real unlimited data, and get rewarded with a $200 phone credit after 12 months. It's a win-win-win. Head to Walmart or visit straighttalk.com today. Switch to Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Straight Savings Plan enrollment requires compatible unlocked device and new line of service. Bonus device credit requires 12 months of active service. Offer ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. Taxes and fees apply. For network management practices, see Straight Talk's terms and conditions.
The following is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways with the purpose of soliciting sales of vacation ownership. For complete details, please visit fvgradio.com. If you want a 100% complimentary stay in Cancun at a luxury resort, then Family Vacation Getaways is your ticket to paradise. We're giving away 5 days and 4 night stays to the first 50 callers who can name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. An animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. Do you know it? Call now, 800-951-6541. 800-951-6541. You may also be eligible for an exciting bonus vacation in Orlando, Florida for just $398. And don't worry about anything ruining your plans. We can extend your stay up to 18 months. Name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird, and you get a complimentary Cancun resort stay and an optional bonus vacation in Orlando for just $398. What are you waiting for? Call 800-951-6541. Again, 800-951-6541 and give us your answer. The proceeding is not a contest or sweepstakes and is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways and not sponsored by or affiliated with this station or program.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win, breakaway, pick six, three-point shot, underdog win, buzzer beater, shootout, walk-off, and absolutely every play in between is amazing. From football to basketball and hockey to baseball, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in New Jersey.
Home of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Thank God I'm a girl.
Sixers.
Bang! It's good. Ball game. Just in front of the net.
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey. 97.3 ESPN presents The Sports Bash with Mike Gill. It's time for Football at 4 with Adam Kaplan, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast.
I give my heart and soul to this franchise, as so many of us do.
Now live, this is Football at 4.
Football at 4 is powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. It's brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Adam Kaplan is here from the Inside the Birds podcast, which you can get on all podcasting platforms and their YouTube channel. Just search Inside the Birds. We'll get some final takes and thoughts on the Eagles' win at the Bengals. First time they ever won in Cincinnati. We'll take a look at how it was done and how they got the job done against this Bengals team that, hey, they were an underdog here. They were a 2.5-point dog when this game kicked off. They end up winning the game by 20 going away, Adam. We'll get some final thoughts on that. But, yeah, they were 2.5-point dog going into this game. So some people were surprised, at least, by the way they played.
Yeah, I was of our crew. It was me, Greg Cosell, and of course, Mosher. I was the one person of the three of us to not only pick the Eagles to cover the number, but I picked them outright, and I also got the player of the game right. At least I think he was. Everybody could have their star of the game. Cooper DeJean also played well, but my star of the game coming into the game, I thought that Jalen Hurts would rise up, kind of match Burrow. We could argue that he outplayed Burrow. We'll get into that in a second. But, no, this is a very good win, Mike. There's no question about it. It's a game they really needed. Look, this is not Major League Baseball. Yes, this is an out-of-conference game, but this is one of only 17 games. I mean, again, this counts against their record, tiebreakers and so forth, and common opponents. So, look, this is a really good win. Didn't start off well, but I would tell you the key to this thing is the defense after a terrible first drive, getting out obviously on the field for too long, over 10 minutes, holding the Bengal offense to a field goal on that second drive, Mike. That was massive. Very much, it was kind of like the Green Bay game week 1 where they drove right down the field, but they held the Packers to 2 field goals.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot there. I mean, they go right down the field. Cincinnati does 17-play, 10-minute drive. They scored. It feels like that's easy. I mean, that was what you thought you might see is Burrow just working his way, and then they able to kind of make their adjustments and keep them out of the end zone. Really only had that the one touchdown a little bit later on in the game. But, man, 17-17, they get the touchdown to go 24-17, and it's off the passing game. That big throw from Hurts to Smith. Only throw the ball 20 times, but what you see from the quarterback and the passing game?
Yeah, I thought, Mike, this game, see, stats can lie. It's always what the tape tells you, or even if you're watching off TV, what can you glean? So for the folks who just watch the game Sunday, you should be able to tell that Hurts did not move unnecessarily like he has in the past, where the play is to the left and he looks at it and then he decides to not take it and move and tries to go to a secondary option or a third, which is a mistake. He didn't really do that in this game. He was very decisive. I like that. I was impressed by that. Very complete game in terms of that. Now, was he under pressure? No, not very much. The Eagles' offensive line, Fred Johnson, and I'll include him in kind of the players of the game. Fred Johnson, a former Bengal, who actually went against Trey Hendrickson. He was with them 1 year with the Bengals, and apparently the two guys are friendly. Fred talked about it after the game. Fred Johnson held his own. That was a stunner to me. I thought Trey Hendrickson, number 91, would kind of have his way, but he didn't. Fred Johnson really handled himself well. He's now had 11 NFL starts, Mike. Did a really good job there. He's way better left tackle than he is right. I think we kind of knew that going in. But overall, the offensive line was really good. In fact, Mike, that's another thing I want to make before we get to the defense. Their offensive line has been terrific in pass pro this season, and it's something we really haven't talked enough about. Their offensive line, Mike, despite all the injuries they've had, they very rarely had everybody together. They've been terrific this season.
Yeah, no, their offensive line did a great job in the game the other day. Fred Johnson, as you mentioned, he would be the guy you were worried about. They also had Tyler Steen in at the right guard position. And Steen, I think Moshe brought it up yesterday on Football at 4, is really they haven't missed a beat with Steen and Becton there. Those two guys have really played almost equally.
The only bad game they had, it was bad. It was against the Bucs. That was a disaster. But overall, all the other games they've been really good. So you got to feel good at the direction of the offense, even with the guys missing on the offensive line. Without Goddard, Grant Calcaterra is a really good athlete, really good running after the catch. That is his big deal in getting an open space. We're seeing a little bit more trust from Hurts to Calcaterra. That's really good. Jack Stahl had the block of the game in terms of a tight end. I mean, that on the touchdown, it was just down to Devontae Smith. It was crazy. Jack Stahl's been a good story. He, as we reported at the time, he had an offer from the Eagles and the Giants. He chose the Giants because he thought he would have a chance at a greater role because he knew that Darren Waller was going to retire, and Jack never wound up getting that role that he thought, and he got cut, and he came back to the Eagles, and the Eagles are sure glad they got him because he's playing the inline role, and Grant Calcaterra now is the pass catcher until Goddard comes back.
Yeah, the other one thing on the offense, too, I mean, I don't know if obviously people took notice. They asked Sirianni about it yesterday, and Kellen Moore today. They went under center a lot more, 7 times on the final drive of the last 12 plays. Ben Van Sumeren was in on that drive 3 times, so they are evolving the run game too.
Yeah, and Mike, this is important because it's great for play action. What I'd like to see it, Mike, more though, if you really want to spin it the way it needs to look, is it needs to be a staple when you come out. And the best play action, talking to coaches about it, is when your quarterback is under center. It's much harder when the quarterback's standing up in a shotgun.
Yep.
And that has to happen for this to really look like the offense Kellen Moore wants. Because Kellen, I've talked to guys who work with him in Dallas. He wants tempo. They're doing tempo. Jalen likes it. Kellen likes under center. They're doing a little bit more of that. That's great. He wants motion. They're doing a little bit of that. We're not looking like a true Kellen Moore offense, but we're making movement toward it, and that's a good sign.
All right, let's look at the defense, which, obviously the play of the game is the Cooper DeJean spot there. The rookies have stepped up. Cooper DeJean makes that 4th and 1 open play, and then they get 3 after that to give it a 2-score game. But that's a huge play in the game. But it's not just the rookies. Some of the new players are stepping up. They only got 1 sack, Nolan Smith. They had 5 QB hits. So this defense feels like even without the sacks, they were able to make some plays that got some turnovers.
Yeah, Mike, one of the things that we have criticized over the last year is the lack of player development. Because I know Sirianni, we were told when he interviewed for the Eagles for the job in 2021, is that he told their front office and Jeffrey Lurie that he puts a big emphasis on player development. We know about that developmental period after practice, but this last year, the younger players have not been developing as much as we thought they should, and boy, now you're really seeing it. So Cooper DeJean, it's only been 3 starts. He's terrific. I know that long-term the Eagles see him as an outside corner. I'd stop and say, you know what? Let's just see in this nickel role. It's not just your nickel role, Mike. He's almost playing he's playing corner. He's playing nickel. He's playing linebacker. He's doing all sorts of different things here, Mike, in this nickel role. So he's been terrific. Nakobe Dean is getting better, a third-year linebacker. He's improved. There's no question about it. Playing with much more discipline. They're getting him to go downhill more. Jalen Carter is getting better. He's playing better. We know Moro Jomo has been a nice story of development. Thomas Booker's come out of nowhere, a guy that the Texans didn't want and drafted. He's given them really good snaps. Ben Van Sumer with his fullback role, special teams role. You like that he's developing. Nolan Smith is getting a little bit better. He's nowhere near where he needs to be, but he's giving them good snaps. Quinyon Mitchell, Mike, also playing very well. This has been a good story. People around the league were not sure how well he would do year one. Well, he's been terrific. Isaiah Rodgers, by the way, who they, as you know, sat out last season, Mike, he had a great play. He caused the interception on the deflection. What a great play that was. He will fill in for Darius Slay if Slay can't go. So you got that, Mike. But this story, I want to talk about development. Zach Bond playing inside backer for the first time in his career, Mike. Like, no team saw this. So what we reported at the time was the Eagles were going to line him up as an inside backer and have him be an edge rusher. Well, guess what? He's only done edge one game. That was against his former team, the Saints. Not doing the edge stuff. So now he can do it. He's rushed a little bit, but no, he's an inside backer here. You know, they wanted him to do a little bit of the Van Ginkel stuff. He's really not doing that. So what a story he's been. So you got to give Howie Roseman credit, obviously. I mean, he's the general manager, but you also got to give the coaches credit. We mentioned Fred Johnson. Jeff Stalin deserves a lot of credit. Mekhi Becton, I know he's hurt with a concussion. Cal Kutera, give Jason Michael, their tight ends coach, Mike, credit. Jack Stoll reemerging here as a wide tight end. Kenny Gainwell's improved, Mike. This is really, and I'm glad that Bobby King was given the inside backer coach a shout out today by Vic Fangio, Mike. We got to give the coaches credit. For much as we gave them heck last year for the lack of development, they're doing a really good job, and it's about time that some of these younger players started developing. They really are.
Yep, they got some impact. Nolan Smith with a sack. You had the big play from Cooper DeJean. Quinyon Mitchell played well. You mentioned some of the other guys. Defense growing. We'll see. They play Jacksonville this week, then Dallas. Washington will be a big challenge. By the way, if you look at the Washington schedule, Adam, they don't have a lot of losable games left on that schedule. So this is going to be a pretty interesting race here down the stretch. Let's go around the NFC East. Those are the Philly four: Jacksonville, Dallas, Washington, the Rams. Commanders play at the Giants, Pittsburgh, at Philly, home against Dallas. So are the Commanders in this for the long haul?
They are. Look, they're way better than I thought, because you can only judge a team by what their roster looks like, and you talk to people around the league who evaluate the roster, and a lot of people that I talked to agreed that this is going to be like a 7, maybe an 8-win team if the quarterback was really good. Well, they're 6-2. They've got a half-game lead on the Eagles because the Eagles have not played their 8th game yet. Washington has not had their bye. So, yeah, it's interesting because the Eagles have to play. They host the Steelers. Steelers, by the way, are on their bye. They are 6-2. The Steelers are looking for receiver help. But the bottom line is, Mike, it's a 2-horse race in the NFC East. I'm surprised. I thought it would be Dallas, to be honest with you. Dallas, a really bad home team, no question about it. Dallas' schedule, holy smokes, Mike. At Atlanta, who's probably going to win that division because of the Bucs' problems at receiver with the injuries in their secondary. Then they host the Eagles. They haven't won a home game since last year. They've lost their last 4 home games, including the playoff game where they got blown out. They host the Texans, who unfortunately lost Stephon Diggs for the season, and at Washington. Good luck. Good luck. Yeah. I don't see a win there.
Yeah, I think Dallas is in some trouble. As you mentioned, the next 4. I mean, Houston did lose Stephon Diggs for the rest of the season. They won't have Nico Collins likely for that game, but they're still a pretty good defensive team. This 4-game stretch for Dallas, I mean, man, if they don't win at least 2 of these games, they're probably done.
They're done.
Yeah,
they won't be a wild card. And then the Giants. Well, the lowly Giants, you probably will start trading players away, don't they? Just lost to Pittsburgh last night. They're 2-6, like Darius Slayton.
Played tough last night. They hung in there.
They did. No, look, they had a chance to tie it late, but Daniel Jones wasn't real happy. They host the Commanders this week. They're at Carolina, who's clearly packing it in. They traded Deontay Johnson today.
Yep.
They host the Bucs, who are beat up, and they're at Dallas. But, yeah, Daniel Jones is so inconsistent. He had some good throws last night. He had throws he's like to take back. They're an absolute mess. You know, Mike, one thing before we move on. One of the reasons why the Eagles most years are good, and sometimes are better than good, they're very good to elite, it's because they address the offense and defensive lines, particularly offensive line. You would think it's so simple. The formula is dominate on the lines. I say this every year, and it kind of bothers me. Like the Commanders, I get it. They're as good as they are, and their offensive line is really overachieving. They got to get better players to help Jaden Daniels. They need help at receiver as well. I know they're looking at the receiver market, but you can't win if you don't address their offensive line. The Giants' offensive line is not very good. And one more note, Mike. First time we've ever done this, tonight on Patreon. Jason Avant joins us, patreon.com/InsideTheBirds to sign up. This is incredible. So Jason's with us from 7:30 to 8 on Zoom, and then Greg Cosell, 8 to 8:30. Folks would give Greg hell for what he had to say about Jalen last week. But he was just telling the truth. He has no hate in his heart. Jalen's tape was bad against the Giants, and I look for. I haven't talked to Greg this week, so I have no idea what he thought of Jalen's tape. I thought it was good. I watched a little bit of it about a couple hours ago. I know Jeff's seen it, but the bottom line is Avant and Cosell tonight back to back. Patreon.com/InsideTheBirds to sign up.
All right, there you go. Football at 4 on a Tuesday with Adam Kaplan. Go around the NFC East and recap that Eagle win. We'll do it again on Friday with Adam tomorrow. Jeff's here and Andrew on Thursday. Thank you, bud.
You got it. Thank you.
All right, Adam Kaplan from the Inside the Birds podcast, InsideTheBirds.com. And as you heard, their Patreon show tonight, you can check that out, Inside the Birds platforms. As always, here on the Sports Bash, Football at 4 is powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. It's brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. This hour of the show, it's brought to you by our friends over at Jersey Cow. Ice cream's a year-round thing at Jersey Cow. And right now, what better weather this time of the year for ice cream than Jersey Cow ice cream? You get beautiful weather. It's a perfect opportunity for you to try them out. You don't get the long line get sometimes in the summertime. Northfield, Brigantine, they're open noon to 10 at both locations. Ice cream is a year-round thing at Jersey Cow. I went, it's going to be 80 degrees tomorrow. Forget the fall flavors. I want some of those nice summer flavors that they have over there at Jersey Cow. All right, Adam broke to light some of the things that Philadelphia did well in the game. He's right about the developing of the young players. How about some of the young players that Philadelphia is getting some stuff from? Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Nolan Smith. I mean, who had Nolan Smith making a bigger impact than Bryce Huff? Because realistically, right now, if it's 3rd down and 7 and you need someone to get to the quarterback, who you putting your money on, Nolan Smith or Bryce Huff?
Oh, boy. I mean, I would definitely go with Nolan Smith.
Right? I mean, it's not even really, you don't have to pause really when you think about it.
Well, you're only pausing because you're realizing how wild it is that it's that definitive.
You're hoping, like Cooper DeJean and
Hope against hope.
Well, Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell keep getting better and better each and every week, it seems like.
Yeah.
You got to hope that this keeps happening for Nolan Smith, that he keeps getting better every week so that at least you have a somewhat competent pass rusher. Because right now, I don't want to say he's the best one you got, but if you can get him to continue to get better, remember, he's only in his 2nd year. Maybe he's growing, and that Fangio trusts him more and more, because I don't know about you, but I'm about giving up on Bryce Huff giving you anything this year.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you look at Bryce Huff, and you just don't see a guy who has anything going for him. Even the half a sack he got.
That was 2 weeks ago.
I mean, that wasn't even, like, really him. That was him just kind of being like, oh, look what I can get, just, like, jumping on at the end.
Yeah, that was against the Giant team. For that. No, if you're telling me, okay, he gets it against, Detroit, fine. He worked his ass off to get that. You get against the Giants, I'm not saying he didn't work hard, but Come on.
Well,
they had 8 sacks in that game. By the way, the snap counts in that game, when you take a look at Smith versus Huff had 22 snaps. Smith had 30. So Huff played 38% of the snaps. Brandon Graham, 21 plays. He actually played the least out of the pass rushers. But I guess you're getting to the point where it's like, I can't keep playing Brandon Graham this much.
Well, I mean, it gets back to what Fangio said a couple months ago when he said, I'm not afraid to play younger players or guys who are not the quote-unquote starters if they're the best option. And you're seeing right now that Fangio is like, look, this Huff guy, I can't depend on him. Let's get Nolan Smith out there.
I said it a couple of weeks ago. Mora and Jomo, he had 25 snaps. Jordan Javis, 22. Milton Williams, 28. So, yeah, I mean, they're starting to get a little bit of a feel and a rhythm in the guys that they want to play. And I don't know. I'm not telling you that I'm betting money on Nolan Smith becoming their best pass rusher, but, man, he's the one guy that I feel like has more of a ceiling in this season. I feel like, Brandon Graham's not going to get much better. He is what he is, obviously. Josh Sweat, you know what he is. Most of the guys on this team, you know what they are. And I've lost any – look, I didn't like the signing of Huff to begin with. Begrudgingly, I'm like, okay, give me something, and I'm pretty much giving up hope on that.
To me, the biggest problem with the Huff signing still gets back to how did the Eagles acquire this guy and them not foresee there potentially being any of these issues? It's such a perplexing move for a franchise that usually does such great homework when it comes to free agent acquisitions.
609-403-0973. Is James Bradbury healthy? Could he flip him? Could you Eagles flip him to a leaky Giants defense on the back end for Isaiah Simmons? He's a guy who can tackle and cover tight ends. Well, can't imagine anybody wants James Bradbury.
Bradbury's still on injury reserve. They had not opened his practice window yet.
Yeah, he hasn't practiced. He's not in the 21-day window, but, I mean, no. Did you say flip him to a leaky Giant defense? Why the heck would the Giants want to trade for Isaiah Simmons? I mean, James Bradbury. Are we speaking the same language here?
Are we talking about the same James Bradbury?
James Bradbury has no value at all. I can't imagine that the Giants would say, "Yeah,
is it the same guy who always tried to trade for Mike Trout?"
Yes.
Is it?
I believe so. I think it is anyway. I don't know. Some of these numbers look the same.
They start blurring together after a while.
Well, it's not like a standout, like it's a 609. So
right, gotcha.
It is the first 3 exchanges, but could the Eagle? I'm just trying to make sure I'm reading this right. Let me try to read it one
Try
more
it again.
time. Is James Bradbury healthy? The answer to that question is no. That's the first part.
Right.
2, could the Eagles flip him to a leaky Giants defense on the back end for Isaiah Simmons? He's a guy who can tackle and cover tight ends. Why would the Giants want to trade for James Bradbury? They're
And why would they want to trade Simmons?
Yeah, that's another
Simmons
question.
is what, like 5-6 years younger than Bradbury?
I don't know about that. I mean, I think we think that Bradbury's some old fogey. No, I don't think that trade is working. That trade has about as good a chance as Mike Trout getting traded here. But to answer the first part of the question, Bradbury is not healthy.
5-year age gap.
Really?
Yep. Bradbury's 31, Simmons is 26.
Huh. Interesting. Another reason why
that makes the text even more
I don't know.
bizarre.
I mean, I guess the thought is that the Giants are giving up and they're just trading guys, but
yeah, but usually when you're giving up, you're trading guys that either you're not going to bring back in free agency or guys who,
well, sometimes you end up trading guys who were signed longer term that you don't want to pay the money, and you feel like our rebuild is so far away that this guy's not going to be here. But I don't see how that helps them at all.
I'm just thinking in my mind of Ernest Jones, the linebacker who was traded from the Titans to the Seahawks, how he was a guy that the Titans were like, look, we don't think we could re-sign this guy in free agency, so let's get something for him now.
I mean, the trade you're seeing right now, I mean, you got Devontae Adams. He was on a bad team, didn't want to be there. Today, DeAndre Johnson, he's on a bad team. They're breaking things up. I mean, the Giants could be a team that wants to trade, but why would they want James Bradbury back?
Right.
I mean, I get his contract is up at the end of the year, and you know.
I mean, maybe if you told me that the Eagles were going to trade a draft pick for Isaiah Simmons.
Yeah, I was going to say they don't want Bradbury. They would say we'll take a third. That would be something up, but I don't see that happening.
Yeah, and Bradbury's got multiple years left.
We got to stop trying to make up like John Madden football has ruined people. You just start hitting like stuff for the computer and like move things around and like, do you accept you? It's like, no. And then you keep changing things. And then it finally agrees with you. And you're like, see, that trade worked on John Madden football.
Or like NBA trade machine where we all run to that every time there's a Sixers conversation.
Well,
right?
the trade machine is more to just see if the money would work.
Money works, right.
Yeah, it's not like on Madden football, you would just put ridiculous trade offers in and the computer would just say, yeah, this trade is fair or not fair.
Right.
But most of the times you're like, dude, this trade's not fair.
Yeah, back in the day when AI was stupid.
Still is.
It's not as stupid.
Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. Nicky Nuggets is on the way. Knicks Nuggets are coming up with another edition here on the Sports Bash Live. Don't forget, Flyers hockey tonight, and that is on Rock 104.1 and the Rock 104.1 free mobile app. Flyers taking on Boston. Sam Arison back in goal there. Follow Kevin Durso. He's got a preview up right now at 97.3ESPN.com.
Wake up weekday mornings from 6 to 10 a.m. with Unsportsmanlike on 97.3 ESPN with Evan Cohen, Super Bowl champion Chris Canty, and Michelle Small. Can't wake up without it. Brought to you by the Gallery Bar Book and Games at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City.
With GMF financing, the qualified buyers excludes Traverse and Corvette excludes prior sales.
Need a car, truck, or SUV? Great! Get to Bennett Chevy, where you're going to get Bennett's best offers ever. You know Bennett sells new Chevys at the true GM supplier employee price, right? Well, right now, Bennett Chevrolet says, how'd you like to buy your new Chevy and pay $500 below the GM supplier employee price? Yes, $500 less than our employees. Plus, you keep all the rebates. That's up to 15% off the sticker. And with available 0% financing, you'll have incredibly low payments. And if you've got an old car to trade, right now you'll get a minimum $10,000 towards any pre-owned vehicle in stock. That's at least $10,000 for total junk. Imagine how much we'll pay for good trades. And wait till you experience Bennett's non-commissioned sales team. Paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend, so they'll make getting all these unbelievable deals even better. Together, let's drive. Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
No two people learn the exact same way. So how did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? We thought of you, all of you. Take Sierra. As a visual learner, she uses Babbel's wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping in French.
Merci beaucoup. Heath is a be in the room with real people kind of learner. So he loves the live online classes with our language experts.
Okay, class. Vos está pronto. Estamos prontos.
However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Hey, at Total Wine & More, you'll love what you find this Halloween.
Steve.
Oh, hey, Frankenstein. Did you enjoy that Cabernet?
Oh, good. Want margarita?
Well, all the villagers are raving about this tequila.
Ooh,
And we have it at the lowest price in town.
economical.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
It's hurricane season. Are you prepared? Don't get left in the dark. Calvi Electric, a certified Generac dealer, has you covered. From installation to maintenance, they're your go-to experts for Generac generators, ensuring your home stays powered through any storm. A Generac home standby generator will automatically restore power to your home during an outage, so your life goes on uninterrupted. Put your trust in Calvi Electric, the premier electrical contractor serving South Jersey for over 115 years. Visit calvielectric.com today or call 609-345-0151.
Hear that? The sound of water being poured on 800-degree rocks. If you were here in this sauna, you'd be so hot you wouldn't have the energy to move. But you're not here. Because your self-care happens out on the road, riding your motorcycle protected by Progressive. Besides, after a long ride, a helmet sweat is way more satisfying. So if you ride, switch to Progressive, America's #1 motorcycle insurer, without even breaking a sweat. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
Did you know that Wendy's has any size soft drinks for just $1? Yeah, any size, anytime. Like $1 Coke, $1 Sprite, or even $1 strawberry Fanta. Okay, could we maybe switch up the sound effect, please? Because I'm losing it. Wow, no, not that. Any size soft drink for just $1? Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. A la carte only. Not valid in a combo. Exclusions apply.
Save thousands at Matt Blatt Kia. Get out of your old trade today, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Go to mattblattkianj.com for more details. That's mattblattkianj.com.
It's gotta be a
Matt Blatt Kia.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Progressive Insurance presents the Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN. NFL, the Eagles home on Sunday as they take on Jacksonville. Philadelphia's won 3 straight at 5-2. Half game behind Washington in the NFC East. Jacksonville 2-6 with 4 of their losses coming on the road. Eagles are second in the NFL in rushing and averaging 24 points per game. Coverage on 97.3 ESPN beginning at 3 o'clock. NBA, the Sixers hosting the Detroit Pistons Wednesday night, coming off an overtime win Sunday against Indiana. Paul George and Joel Embiid listed as game-time decisions. Both have not played their first 3 games of the year. Pistons 0-4 and are under new head coach J.B. Bickerstaff. Flyers return to the ice tonight in Boston. They'll take on the Bruins. It's a 1-game trip for the Flyers, who return home Thursday to face the St. Louis Blues. Philadelphia has lost 6 of their last 7 after losing to Montreal 4-3 on Sunday. You can catch tonight's Flyers game starting at 7 o'clock on our sister station, Rock 104. I'm Tony Desiri, and that's your Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN.
I'm Tahisha Way, New Jersey's Lieutenant Governor, with a message for New Jersey voters. You have 3 voting options in the general election. Vote in person on Election Day, Tuesday, November 5th. Vote early, in person Saturday, October 26th through Sunday, November 3rd, or apply for, complete, and return a mail-in ballot. Whatever you choose, vote by 8 p.m. on Tuesday, November 5th. Details at vote.nj.gov.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. The warm-up is about to kick into high gear. Temperatures tomorrow and Thursday will run about 15 degrees above normal for late October. A few clouds tonight, and it'll be comfortable. Low temperature 54. Tomorrow, sunny clouds, high 78. 79 for Halloween Thursday, warmest day of the week. Partly sunny and dry. A quick shower expected Friday morning. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
New Jersey might be small, but there's a lot of wow packed into this little state. So what are you waiting for? Wow your way through NJ. Through sculpture gardens, gardens, and loop-de-loops. New Jersey, it's one wow after another after another. Find your wow at visitnj.org. New Jersey, little state, lot of wow.
It's the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Keeping the fans entertained and happy.
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
4:30 this hour, brought to you by Jersey Cal. 2 locations, Northfield Brigantine. Ice cream's a year-round thing. Jersey Cal, open noon to 10. Mike Gill in the Sports Bash. Time for Nick's Nuggets. Nick Earnshaw is host of the Shift podcast and producer of The Locker Room, weekends on 97.3 ESPN. I actually talked to the Schweiner last night. It was a very nice conversation. And, well, Nick Earnshaw's here. That's all I got to say about that.
Oh, man. Well,
no, I'm just kidding. Schweiner was giving me a little recap of the event this weekend. Yeah. And what else? He had some other idea he wanted to throw by me.
There you go. Yeah, it was a crazy weekend. I'm sure it was a loud phone call as well, too. That's usually how those phone calls go with the Schweiner. Very, very high volume. Got to turn it down on the phone.
I got to give the Schweiner credit. When I went away, my girlfriend and I went away the last time. He drove us and picked us up from the airport.
Yeah, he did tell me that. I did hear about that. That's a car ride right there.
Big score for him. 2 points for the Schweiner. And my girlfriend is leaving for vacation.
Oh.
So she needs to get picked up from the airport. So
there you go.
See if we can use the Schwein Express again.
Yeah, I mean, he's a big airport guy. We know
I know, man.
He's a big airport guy. So
he knows all the routes. He knows everything.
So that's the perfect guy you want picking you up, dropping you off from the airport if you're traveling to any destination. Schweiner's your guy. That's the perfect guy to go to. Now, I want to touch on something you and Josh were talking about before the break, before I get into the Nuggets a little bit. You're talking about, the trades. People were texting in different trade ideas, and you were saying how the Madden football game, video game, has kind of ruined people's ideas with trading because of how crazy AI is and the computer generated trade. Well, you know what I used to do? I when I still occasionally play Madden, I don't play it as much anymore, but you got to force the trade through. It could be the most ridiculous trade ever. That's what you got to do. You got to force the trade through. You trade one of the worst 55 overalls for a 95 overall player, and you just click force trade, and then it works out.
Well, then that guy who texts in, he's the same guy who says Mike Trout to the Phillies.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go. Yeah, Mike Trout, not to the Phillies. We can't have that happen. I'm sorry. Just not now. I mean, we need Juan Soto.
I wouldn't be against it. I just don't see it happening.
Juan Soto's more realistic and would be the better fit at this point in time.
Trout's cheaper.
He's cheaper. It's all right. Actually, I'm not worried about cheaper.
If you told me Trout for his contract or Soto for what you have to pay him, who would you take?
Soto. Taking Soto, no doubt. Soto's 25 years old and doesn't have an injury history right now. I mean, that's where we're at with it. I'm just saying that's where you got to be at with it.
If Trout was healthy, if I guaranteed you he was going to stay healthy for the whole season and be Mike Trout,
then yeah, sure. But that's not reality. Reality is he hasn't been able to stay healthy, and it's so unfortunate because he's been the best player of a generation. Best player of a generation here, Mike. But I right now at this point, with where the Phillies are at, with where Mike Trout is at his career, as well as Juan Soto, I got to go Soto. I'm leaning Soto. I'll pay the big bucks for Soto. He's 25 years old. He's coming off a World Series appearance. You could have him during the prime of his career. I mean, I think it's a no-brainer at this point.
Yeah, listen, I'm just saying. I mean, if you can get Mike Trout for half the price, that's all.
Yeah, no, money is not a concern for me at this point.
It's not a concern for me either. It's not my money. I don't care what you spend. But I will say, when you spend that kind of money on a guy, then the pressure goes up on that guy.
It does. It does. I think Juan Soto will be okay. Now, Trey Turner hasn't really handled it all that well. I don't think he's lived up to that contract whatsoever. When he signed it 2 years ago. It's been a little deflating, the Trey Turner experience so far. All right, I got to get into the Nuggets, and I got to talk about a little more disappointment. Go from Trey Turner. Let's go to Joel Embiid and Paul George, who continue to be out. Sixers put out that they will not be playing tomorrow night against the Detroit Pistons, as one Tobias Harris will be making his return to Philadelphia. I'm sure he'll be greeted very fondly, as I say that sarcastically, to the Wells Fargo Center tomorrow. But then they had a press conference.
I didn't even think about Tobias coming back.
Yeah, Toby's coming back. How's he going to play tomorrow? Is he going to airball a couple
kind of reaction?
Layups? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
What kind of reaction is that going to be? Yikes.
Yeah, so that's one aspect of tomorrow's game. But then Embiid and George not playing. And Nick Nurse asked about it today, just was fed up with the Embiid questions of what's going on, Mike. Do you think there's something more with Embiid going on here? Because it's getting weird.
I didn't hear what Nurse said. What did he say?
He just shut down questions about it. He literally, when he was asked about it multiple times, he just kind of shut it down and said, hey, they're not playing. You saw the statement. I'm paraphrasing. He did say something along the lines of, you saw the statement that was put out today about Embiid and Paul George being out. And he really was just not taking questions on it.
Yeah, he obviously is frustrated, and I don't blame him. He's the coach of the team. He doesn't want to have to be asked these questions time after time because he probably feels that the guy's ready to play.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know what the issue is here. I mean, he played in the Olympics. It was not really on anyone's radar that he really wasn't going to play opening night or in the beginning of the season. I don't know what the discrepancy is here right now.
All right, so if he didn't play in the Olympics, do you think people would care as much? Let me get the bite here, by the way. This is from Kyle Neubeck over at PHLY. I'll get this queued up here in a second, and we'll get the audio to play, because I did not hear the exchange. I guess this happened about an hour ago.
Yes.
But I can understand Nurse's frustration. It's a clown show. You kidding me? You got a guy who's not hurt, not playing, and they're saying, well, he hasn't practiced, so how can we play him? So then this is the chicken or the egg. Well, why isn't he playing then? Why wouldn't you be playing a guy who's healthy enough to play? Why isn't he practicing? I guess is the question. Why you have a guy healthy, not practicing? Here's what the exchange between Nick Nurse and the media today. Take a listen.
Nick, obviously we have to worry about Joel and Paul. In terms of their participation in practice today, were they able to do any live 5-on-5 or anything like that today?
You guys got the update? They were in parts of practice. On we go. Sorry, apologies, but go ahead.
Sorry. It sounded like you guys went pretty hard for a good chunk of time today during practice. What was the focus, or what were you trying to hone in on?
Just trying to establish and maintain some type of identity and toughness of who we want to be and who we are and how we want to play, which finally showed up there 3 games in. Just staying on that track.
With Joel's plan,
I'm not going to answer. Go ahead. Anybody else got anything?
What was
they've given you the updates on that, right? They've given you the updates on Joel.
All right, that's Nick Nurse today then. So he says that's the question came down with Joel's plan. He puts his hand up, for those of you who are not watching the video on the X platform and YouTube. He put his hand up and said, I'm not answering that question. So, yeah, he's fed up with it. And he doesn't want to have to be the messenger. He doesn't want to have to be the guy, much like Brett Brown had to be. He had to be the guy that went out there constantly and gave the messaging because Sam Hinkie wouldn't do it. So I guess the question becomes, is it Daryl Morey's job to sit down and explain why this has gotten to this point?
Yeah, it's just confusing with the way they've handled it. It's just odd because Nick Nurse clearly is fed up. It feels like he's kind of like in the middle of everything, right? Like he's kind of the one that has to go out there every day and answer questions for the most part from the reporters. And people want to know, where is the superstar, the guy you just gave 3 years, a $192 over the course of the next few seasons? Like, where is that guy? Like he's the face of the franchise. People want to know where he's at. And it seems like Nurse is seemingly in the middle of the whole thing right now. And you're not hearing anything from Daryl Morey. You're just getting a press release, put out a statement. And, Nick Nurse has no other updates. It's coming from up top, and this whole plan is coming from up top. And you really haven't heard anything from Joel Embiid. So, I don't know what Nick Nurse can do here. So I kind of feel a little bit bad for him because it seems like he's the guy in the middle here.
Well, this is where the Sixers can bail him out and say, look, Daryl's going to talk. He's going to give you an update, and that's the last, that we'll speak on this until we have further. I mean, you put him out there. He says, look, Joel, he's not hurt. He didn't practice. We're going to try to – now, the question is, why didn't he practice? That's what we need to get to. Why was Joel Embiid unable to practice in training camp to the point where he's not able to play, but he was able to play in the Olympics? I don't know why the Sixers would think this is a ridiculous line of questioning.
Are they like embarrassed that he may have gotten hurt during the Olympics and they don't want to announce it because it might be a bad look for Joel? They're protecting Joel. Like, there's all these questions running through my head, Mike Gill, right now because they really haven't been so clear about what's going on with Joel. Yeah, they have a plan. They want to keep him healthy, not playing back-to-backs. That's all fine and great. What about right this second? There was nothing came out that he was hurt heading into the season and that he had a ton of issues with his knee or anything. He just played across the season, won a gold medal. Like, what happened since then?
Shams Charania on the Pat McAfee show today went out of his way. Okay, again, we have this audio from Pat McAfee show today. This was Shams this afternoon explaining no injury issue here. So listen to Shams.
From the NBA perspective, there's no specific injury that the Sixers have cited. So when you think about Kawhi Leonard, when you think about Chris Middleton, Kawhi Leonard has a serious right knee inflammation issue. Chris Middleton is coming off double ankle surgeries. And so there are specific injuries that you can define. They're black and white. Here in this Joel Embiid situation, the Sixers have said there's no injury here.
No injury here.
That's what I'm confused about. Like, why is he sitting out then? What's the point?
Whoa,
I don't get it.
Now, why was he unable to practice? That's the big thing.
Yeah.
It's not why is he not sitting out? It's why, if he's not injured, okay, you're telling us he's not injured anymore. Why is he unable to practice? I mean, again, this is an outrageous line of questioning. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's so weird about this whole thing is he's not practicing. They're not defining an injury. Like Sham said, they haven't cited a specific injury that he has. And we were told and we were made aware during media day when the Sixers were ramping up for the season that he had lost 25 to 30 pounds. So apparently he was in the best shape of his career. So I don't understand where we're at right now. That's so weird.
Shams brought that up today as well. He said he has lost 20 to 25 pounds, that he is in good shape, and that he did not re-injure his knee. Take a listen.
He's actually lost 20, 25 pounds. He's in great shape. There's no re-injury. So from the NBA's perspective and people around the league, it's what's the issue with Joel Embiid? He just is not in shape. He hasn't practiced or played all training camp. So it would be malpractice if the Sixers threw him out there. It would lead to injury.
So we have this whole chicken or the egg situation here. You have the Sixers saying he hasn't practiced so he can't play him. Well, the league is saying, well, why didn't you practice him if he's not hurt? See the disconnect here.
Yeah, the mental jumping jacks we're having to do right now, Mike, it's ridiculous. The Sixers, the way they've communicated this whole thing, craziness, absolute craziness at this point, because we're all asking the same questions. Everyone across the media, fan base, on social media are asking the same questions. What's the problem here? Why is he not practicing? Why? Like, there's no injury apparently, but and he's just sitting out. They just don't want him to play because they want to get him ready for April. That I can't get on board with. You're just sitting him for no reason. And we want him to be ready for April. Well, he is contractually obligated to play in these games unless he is hurt. I don't understand that. That's a little overboard in my opinion.
I will say this: for the most part, they are lucky that they came back and won that game on the road at Indiana, because if they're 0-3, the heat starts to pile up a little more because people are so reactionary, you know?
Yeah, I mean, listen, if they lose that game, it's like, all right, now they're 0-3. They've had a horrible start to the year. They're 1-2, a little bit better. Maxey, 45 points, played fantastic, played his butt off. But at some point, it's like, all right, Joel, like, what's going on with you, man? Like, he hasn't addressed the media. He hasn't talked. Paul George is a different story. We saw the injury with the knee. They're being cautious with him. That's fine. The Embiid thing is just craziness at this point.
Yeah, the Paul George,
the messaging has been horrible.
Nobody's questioning the Paul George thing.
No.
Not one person has said, why isn't he playing? We all watched what happened. That's a logical reason. He hyperextended his knee. We watched it happen. Okay. The other thing, it makes no sense. I mean, and to get questions about it and then not have a logical answer makes less sense.
Yeah, I'm not going to the gym tonight for the amount of mental gymnastics we've had to do today, Mike. I think I'm calling it quits on the gym today. I'll go tomorrow. I'll work out tomorrow because the mental gymnastics and whatever we've had to do today live on the air, I just can't do it anymore. All right, I'm moving to nugget number 2 because I can't talk about it anymore, Mike. I don't think anyone wants to either. All right. Major League Baseball. This is going to be something fascinating. We might have to rehash this nugget down the line in a couple months, Mike. The MLB is going to implement balls and strike challenges during spring training this year. They've tried it in the minor leagues before, and it's a little different than ABS. They are not using the ABS system. It is the 3 challenges per game for balls and strikes. A pitcher, a batter, or a catcher can challenge a balls and strike call. So 2 taps to the helmet or hat would allow the umpire to know that they're challenging the call. 3 challenges per game. If you get a challenge correct, you keep the challenge. If it's incorrect, you lose one of those 3 challenges. So you could have 20 challenges per game. They take about 10 seconds. You're not going to have to stop and do replay. They feed it right down to the umpire, and it goes on the screen in the stadium. That is your challenge. So 3 challenges per game for a team. You keep your challenge if you get the challenge correct. And it can be challenged by a batter, pitcher, or a catcher right at home plate. It's quick and it's pretty simple.
Yeah, so this is in the independent leagues. They do this already. Yep. I heard Rob Manfred on a podcast talking about this, that he was at a game and how quick and seamless the technology was. He talked about why they don't have the robot, or he doesn't like to call them robot umpires, but he did explain there's 2 different systems, the challenge system and just the straight strike zone. He said that is not perfected yet because, as I brought up years ago, the size of the square on the screen, they can't get it to where it matches the batter that's up there. So I don't know that you're going to see that. I think the challenge system is the one that they're pushing for. Now, he said he saw it in the independent leagues. He couldn't believe how fast it was. So we will see if that's something in spring training. Now, it's not going to come into the major leagues even if it works well in spring training, it will not be in Major League Baseball this year.
Yeah, that's what it's pointing to. It's just going to be a trial during spring training of 2025, but it's going to be with the Major League team. So you're going to see it during spring training. And I guess if it's efficient, you may see it the following year. I mean, if it works out, which I think it will. I mean, they do it in the independent leagues and it moves. It's quickly. And how much have we been complaining about the umpires recently? You know what I mean?
Oh,
so
that umpire last night was bad.
Oh, it was brutal. It was brutal. So, I mean, you're seeing in the World Series that something needs to be done at this point in time with calling balls and strikes. A little challenge here, tap on the helmet. I see no issue with this. I think this is the best way to at least introduce something to modify and get the call right at the plate.
Yeah, I've seen them. I've seen some videos of this, and it's seamless. It's fast. The only thing is, how do you tell the hitter? Because he gets to make the decision himself.
Yeah, so that's a distinction I do want to make. Managers cannot make this decision. It is between the batter, pitcher, catcher. The batter has to do it right away. If you don't do it, then you're moving on to the next
Right,
pitch.
but what if a guy gets a call in the first inning and you're like doing it? Do you keep the challenge if you get it right?
Keep the challenge. Yeah, so you have 3 per game. You get to keep those 3 until you get one wrong. You get one wrong, you're down to 2. Then you get another one wrong, down to 1. Then if you get one more, you have no more left. So you could have 20 challenges per game and you could lose all 3 right away. Like that's how it could go. But you could see this throughout the game.
Yeah, that would be the thing. Is like in the first inning, you get a bad call, a guy just automatically hits his thing because like you're just reacting. So you might want to say that. That's where the thing becomes a little bit of a mess. It's like if you have the technology to get it right that quickly, which they do, kind of.
That's why I think it'll work because they said like less than 10 seconds. You'll get an answer right back that they'll challenge it. So we'll see how it goes. They're going to try it out in spring training 2025. I wonder how often major league hitters are going to use this because it's going to be mainly the hitters that are going to ask for this pitch. You're going to see pitchers do it too, but it's going to be mainly the hitters in my estimation.
Well, I don't know about that.
Really? You think it's going to be the pitchers?
I wouldn't be surprised if you saw the catchers even like where they catch it, and they're, look, these catchers now, they have these drills where they're catching from the ground and coming up and like swiping up. So like they all think they're stealing strikes.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the hitters, I think you're going to see it in bigger moments in the game, like 3-2 count. I think that's where you'll see, like, especially if it's close, someone tap their head. It's going to be somebody, but I think more so going to be the batters. Before we go, want to move nugget number 3, Yankees Dodgers. Do you think the sweep happens? Remember, Mike, according to ESPN, last 9 World Series that took a 3-0 lead have swept the last 9. So they have swept. Every World Series has gone 3-0. Have swept in the last 9 World Series, the last one being in 2012 with the San Francisco Giants. Does the sweep happen tonight?
I think so. The last night the Yankees look lifeless. They look like they were disinterested. They look overwhelmed at times. They just look overmatched. Look, I said before, the Dodgers were the best team, and they're not even at full strength. They got guys hurt, not even playing in this series, and they're dominated in these playoffs. This has been the best team pretty much all season long. I think it ends tonight. I think the Dodgers. My only concern with the Dodgers was the pitching, but their bullpen has been unbelievable. I don't even know who's pitching tonight, Castellanos or something versus
bullpen
Gill.
game. Bullpen game for you. So there you go. Walker Buehler pitched great last night.
Yep, Buehler was awesome last night, and him pitching like that, I mean, it just concealed the Dodger bullpen games. You keep thinking they're pitching bullpen games. They've been outstanding. I think they win and finish this thing off tonight.
I'm with you. I think it's going to be a sweep of the Yankees.
You can listen to it right here on 97.3 ESPN. The coverage starts at 7. The Flyers and the Bruins are over on Rock 104.1, so check that out. And, of course, Nick's Nuggets are brought to you by the Fanatic Sportsbook at the Gallery Bar Booking Games. See you, Nick.
All right. See you tomorrow, Mike.
All right, he's back tomorrow. I'm back next hour. Casey Joyner has one thought on every game, and that is coming up next here on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN, the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City, and streaming live video on the X platform.
The World Series continues on ESPN Radio.
Freddie Freeman is over for the 3rd straight game in this World Series.
The Dodgers make it 3 straight and push the Yankees to the brink of elimination. Game 4, the Dodgers and Yankees. Coverage begins tonight at 7 Eastern, with first pitch at 8 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Listen to the World Series Game 4 tonight on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 7 p.m.
Brought to you by Shore Physicians Group. Be well connected. Visit shorephysiciansgroup.com.
The time of year for killer deals. You've had your eye on some hot new wheels. We want to pay off your loan or lease and tell your old car to rust in peace.
Get to Matt Black Kia today. Buried in a loan or lease? Matt Black Kia wants to get you released and treat yourself to 0 down, 0 payments until next year, even 0% up to 72 months on every clearly marked new Matt Black Kia in stock. You won't need a costume to get a brand new Matt Black Kia Forte LXS under 20 grand. That's right, a brand new Kia, just $19,999 with any trade. That's less than most used vehicles.
It's gotta be a Matt Black Kia.
With approved credit 24 EV9 and 6, 1388 per thousand. Not all will qualify. Credit may affect down payments. Offers can be combined. Go to MattBlackKiaNJ.com for complete details or 888-505-6670. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer, except for licensing, registration, and taxes. Through KMF rebates and incentives to deal. Expires 10/31/24.
Matt Black Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and on Route 37 in Toms River.
Presenting Again Fling's love story. Dear love of my life, we were on the 12B bus this morning when I caught a whiff. A scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. Alas, I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Try Gain Flings with OxyBoost and Febreze.
Macy's Friends and Family is going on right now, and it's the best time to shop for all the gatherings and gifting ahead. Use your coupon or Macy's card and take an extra 30% off the latest trends, new arrivals, and the best brands like Karl Lagerfeld Paris, Steve Madden, Hotel Collection, and more. And get 15% off beauty too. Plus, get free shipping with any $25 purchase today at Macy's. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Progressive presents good news, bad news, dumb news, then great news. Good news. A letter in your mailbox says you could save money bundling your home and auto insurance with Progressive. Bad news. You saw it after your teenager backed the car into the mailbox. Dumb news. A new mailbox, basically a box on a stick, costs up to $400. Great news. You decide to see if you could save money bundling at Progressive.com and go with paperless mail instead. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Tune in to the Bet365 Play of the Day during the Sports Bash with me, Mike Gill, every weekday afternoon at 5:45 on 97.3 ESPN. Made possible by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office, and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through HIMSS.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMSS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
Jose stands tall atop his sustainable flooring company.
Totally. It's renewable and moisture resistant, but we have several green options too. Or we got some beautiful reclaimed oak.
But floored by his success, he needs to hire more installers.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Fall into savings. Sage Jewelers, the real jeweler, is offering the latest in diamond jewelry.
Sage Jewelers has GIA diamonds and the most exquisite diamond engagement rings. Come see the selection of lab-grown diamond and fashion jewelry, all up to 40% off. Plus, the Sage Jewelers watch selection is second to none.
Sage Jewelers expert jewelers can also customize anything.
Sage Jewelers, your fall into savings headquarters, all up to 40% off on Tilton Road in Northfield.
Did you know that Wendy's has any size soft drinks for just $1? Yeah, any size, anytime. Like $1 Coke, $1 Sprite, or even $1 strawberry Fanta. Okay, could we maybe switch up the sound effect, please? Because I'm losing it. Wow, no, not that. Any size soft drink for just $1? Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. A la carte only. Not valid in a combo. Exclusions apply.
Need a little help? O'Reilly Auto Parts can help. Need advice? We've got advice. No matter what you need, we have thousands of professional parts people doing their part to make sure you have it. Exceptional customer service. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's, the official sports bar of your Philadelphia Eagles, celebrating football season with special new menu items. The Kelsey Combo, created by number 62 himself, a handcrafted barbecue burger, world-famous crab fries, and an ice-cold garage beer. Our incredible jumbo soft pretzel, Chicky style, with a heaping skillet of our own in-house crab dip, and our delectable sweet heat wings, where a portion of the proceeds go to the A.J. Brown Foundation. Participating locations for a limited time. Chickies and Pete's. Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's, the official sports bar of your Philadelphia Eagles. Our new menu includes our boneless wing special every Monday. Buy a single order of our mouth-watering boneless wings and get a snack order of boneless wings free. Every Tuesday and Wednesday, it's buy one, get one free snows. Buy any number of delectable snow crab legs and get the same amount free. Plus the Kelsey Combo, tasty buffalo fried shrimp, seafood pasta in our famous Sicilian or red sauce. Participating locations for a limited time. Chickies and Pete's.
Get your holidays started with the perfect tree in your perfect style from the Home Depot. Whether you want something that you can assemble in a few clicks, steal the show with over 2,000 color-changing bulbs, or a tree with lights that can be controlled by remote or foot pedal. The Home Depot has it all in our huge assortment of premium trees. Plus, get free delivery on over 2 million items this holiday from the Home Depot. Subject to availability, see homedepot.com/delivery for details.
At Complete Care Health Network, their new men's and family health professionals facility in Williamstown offers preventative health screenings and primary care for the entire family with a focus on men's health. Schedule your appointment at CompleteCareNJ.org.
South Jersey's official play-by-play home of the Eagles, Sixers, and Flyers.
At 0 point would I ever consider not being a fan of the team.
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. Now live from inside the Ocean Casino Resort studio, here's Mike Gill.
At the end of the day, their offense looks smooth. I'm watching the tape again. It looks smooth. I don't care about the first quarter thing. That's a stupid number. Do you win games? And how does it look? To me, that's what matters. And they look smooth. The fullback, the play action, it looked like they were setting up plays. They were building up plays from the week in the past.
That was Colin Thompson. Earlier today on the Sports Bash, he says the Eagles' offense looks smooth. The Sports Bash is live on 97.3 ESPN, the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, live video on the X platform and YouTube at Mike Gill Show. Subscribe, use the hashtag SBLive to watch the show. We got plenty more this hour. Casey Joyner's got one thought on every game coming up. Plus, we got the big three today. You'll hear from Mike Lombardi, his thoughts on this Eagles team and why they were able to beat the Bengals on the road. That's coming up in 30 minutes on the Sports Bash. We've got the big Bet365 play of the day, which I think I swept again last night. So we got all that coming up this hour on the Sports Bash. We'll do one thought every game with Casey Joyner in just a couple of minutes here. I got, one of the things, Joel Embiid, the whole Sixers thing, I got news on that. The Sixers have been fined $100,000. Now, is that a slap on the wrist? I don't even know what they got fined for. This is a convoluted mess. According to Shams Charania from ESPN, Shams, by the way, he is the new Woj, So any NBA news now at ESPN is going to be coming from Shams. And he just tweeted out that the Sixers have been fined $100,000 for basically, I guess, not explaining what is going on with the knee situation with the Sixers and Joel Embiid. The Sixers have said, look, he hasn't practiced, so he's not ready to play. We're not going to put him out there if he's not ready to play. In other words, if he hasn't practiced, we're not going to put him on the court, which obviously makes sense. The NBA is saying, though, why don't you have him on the court? So the NBA has fined the Sixers $100,000 for public statements around the health status of Joel Embiid. Sources say the NBA investigation showed that the Sixers did not violate player participation policy with Embiid's missed games, but in fact, with the public comments that did not properly reflect his health issues with the knee. So essentially, they're saying that the Sixers aren't mentioning the knee. That's the problem. They're not giving you the full facts here on that. So that's what we got there in the latest. That was right after Knicks Nuggets today here on the Sports Bench. All right. Let's get into one thought every game. The Eagles, maybe their most impressive win of the year. Casey Joyner from The Athletic set to join us right now for one thought every game. And, of course, we'll focus a little bit more on that Eagles win. And, Casey, right before you came on, we played a bite from Colin Thompson, who played a local guy, played for the Carolina Panthers. And he said, watching the Eagles on film, their offense looks smooth now. This looks like a team that's growing offensively. We keep talking about how clunky. Did Philadelphia look like a team that's turned the corner in their offense and been able to close games out? I mean, they ran the ball. They scored on 6 straight drives in Cincinnati.
Yeah, they did. They look really, really good doing it too. The thing that I liked about it is that they were able to run the football. And the Bengals have been pretty good against the run in the previous few weeks coming into that game. They've been solid against that. And the Eagles still said, hey, 39 carries, 161 yards. So it shows they don't just have to have a favorable matchup to be able to do that. But when you can do that and Jalen Hurts only throws 7 vertical passes. That's okay. That's a solid number for a game. It's not a high number. It's a solid number. But he's 6 of 7 for 161 yards, 23 yards per attempt, a touchdown, a perfect passer rating. I mean, if you can run the ball for 160 yards, you get a perfect passer rating of vertical passes, you're going to do what they did to Cincinnati a lot of times.
Yeah, and, I don't know, only 20 passes in the game, and some, they ran the ball 39 times. But one of the things, Casey, they did, I want to get your thoughts on this, is they went under center more and more. The last drive of the game, a 12-play drive, they went under center 7 times. They have a fullback out there, Ben Van Sumeren, who's a linebacker, and you had 100 yards in the rushing game with Saquon Barkley. You got a big play from Smith, a 45-yard touchdown. It seems that they're starting to get everybody in the right positions now.
They're starting to understand that they do this all the time. It's so frustrating. They seem to do this all the time. We go, hey, you know what? We're a running team, but God, we like pass the ball so much. Metrics tell us we should pass. And it's like, if you really knew how to look at those things, you'd go, you want to pass, you want to be efficient passing, but you don't have to be a pass first team, especially in today's NFL when so many teams are starting to be run first. And then they finally get onto it and go, okay, hey, look, we need to be a run first team. We need to go ahead and look at the Saints, or look at the Bucks game. And well, they didn't do anything against the Bucks. They didn't do anything against the Falcons of the games. And when they don't run for that many yards, they struggle. And they struggled against the Browns. They only rushed 116 yards. When they lean on the ground game and decide to stick to it, they could do it. And plus, again, I come back to this. Cincinnati had been really good. They've been terrible against the run earlier in the year, but they came into that game. They only allowed 119 yards to the Giants and 77 yards to the Browns the previous 2 weeks. This is a team that did pretty well against the run. They were stopping the run, and the Eagles said, hey, we're still going to go ahead and just pound this ball. We're going to stick with it. And it wasn't like just one breakaway run where that they gave them a ton of yards. It was consistent production. And when you can get that type of production again, Cincinnati had a great run defense, but a good run defense, a solid run defense. You could do that. You'll get the rest of the Eagles' schedule and go, okay, this you're going to be able to keep moving the ball on the ground a lot.
Okay, so if you watch the first drive of that game, Joe Burrow, 17-play, 10-minute drive, takes almost the whole first quarter, you would say, Philadelphia's defense is in for a long day here. How did they tighten things up? And what is this defense all of a sudden?
This defense is really good against the run. We're looking at the 3 of the past 5 games. They've allowed fewer than 100 yards. In fact, they allowed 100 yards against the Browns, 111 against the Bucks. They were terrible the first couple weeks, 315 yards against the Packers and Falcons. So they've shut the run down, and they're just solid against the run. They're a team. They in the past years we used to get on the Eagles because it'd be okay. You'll stop the run consistently, but then when you do give up a running play, it's going to be a big gainer. It was always like it was kind of hit or miss. It was, okay, are you going to do well? Are you going to do poorly? And again, that'll work, but it's not the best percentage way to go about it. Now, if you do get big play, if you do get good blocking against them, you're still not getting that many yards on the ground. And plus, they can finally get to some of these games where the Bengals are not a good run team, and they got them to being once they got the score a certain way, the Bengals had to be a pass first team. They didn't just they didn't just want to be; they had to be. And when you can do that, then you can kind of dictate what you can do in the passing game. And that they were able to keep Jamar Chase in check like they did is pretty darn good, because when you talk about vertical yards, there was just mentioned that a minute ago. I mean, Burrow's only 4-9 for 106 yards, and Chase has 1 catch for 13 yards of vertical passes. They said, you're going to have to do something else to beat us. Bengals couldn't.
I'll tell you what, Casey, I don't know if you've got the chance to watch enough Cooper DeJean, but what they've been able to do with him and the tackle he makes on Chase on 4th and 1, it's a game changer. He makes that tackle open field, one-on-one. Chase is going in motion, and obviously they get the stop. They kick the field goal and go up 2 scores, and then they just kind of take the game over. But it feels like Fangio has a little toy that he can play with now in Cooper DeJean.
He does, and the Bengals also, one of the things that it was something in this game is you hear a lot of defensive coordinators say, we're going to take the top player out of the game. And sometimes you could do it, and sometimes you can't. If you're going up against the Bengals, I mean, Burrow's the top guy, but if you're looking at the pass, you can go, okay, we can take care of Chase. With Higgins out, okay, can you do it? Can you limit him to, can you say, okay, we're going to do this and that in coverage? You could do a lot of things, but the offense could do things to get these players up. It's not like it's a given if you just say we're going to take him out. But the Eagles said, we're going to keep him from hitting big plays, and they did. And it's getting good plays like they got from DeJean. And it's getting, I like the tackling in this game too, where the Eagles have been kind of iffy on it. A lot of teams are earlier in the year because we just don't practice tackling anymore in the NFL. Preseason games to do it. So you get a few games in, you can do it. If this is the way they tackle for the rest of the year, again, going to be in pretty good shape defensively.
All right, one thought every game with Casey Joyner. Week 9 we are heading to, but week 8 in the books. Let's take a look back at the week that was. Get one thought on every game. Lions 52-14. The Lions are 6-1 this season. It's their best 7-game start since 1956. Holy mackerel, the Titans are 1-6. It's their worst 7-game start since the franchise moved to Tennessee back in 1997. 52-14. They poured it on.
They did. And mind you, it was 14-14 early in the second quarter. I thought, okay, this game's going to be a shootout. It's like, no, it's 38 straight points by the Lions. I mean, think about it. You win 52-14. Goff, 12 of 15, 85 yards, 3 touchdown passes. You don't even need your quarterback to throw for 100 yards. You put up 52 points. It's really, really, really impressive. I mean, Detroit only ran for 164 yards on the ground too, 225 net yards, and you put up 7 touchdowns. I mean, that just shows you how impactful this team can be. And plus, again, getting the punt return too, and a couple of big plays, and really good on defense. I mean, this team, and again, losing a pass rusher. I've got to get his name. I
know you're talking about. Holy mackerel. Josh, who's the pass rusher from the Lions? Aiden Hutchinson.
There you go. I could think of Hutchinson. I couldn't think of the first name. And I'm a Michigan guy, too. I can't believe that. Yeah, we knew this Hutchinson. You could do this. Really impressive.
One thought every game, the Browns, Jameis Winston, 3 passing touchdowns. His most in a game since 4 back in 2021, week 5 for the Saints. Unbelievable that the Browns, was it simply the quarterback, the Ravens, 11th loss when leading in the final 2 minutes of the 4th quarter since the start of the 2021 season. It's the most in the NFL during that span.
Yeah, and I did a review of this for the Athletic for my fantasy article this week, and looked at the Browns' vertical passing game under Deshaun Watson versus the vertical passing game with Jameis Winston, and what it was with Flacco, and what it was, and what it's been when you don't have Watson there. And Watson just not very good on vertical passes. I think he doesn't want to throw interceptions, doesn't want to make mistakes, doesn't take chances. Well, Jameis Winston is a guy who's going to take a lot of chances. He threw 30 interceptions a year. So That's the big difference, and it's going to be something that will make this offense a lot better down the stretch, because Winston, it may not be a perfect fit for the offense, but again, he's going to at least give you some vertical passing that gives you a shot that they have had so far.
I'll just say, are they just simply possible? Can they turn this season around? Is it too late simply because they've changed the quarterback?
They can turn the season around from a perspective. They'll be much more competitive in games down the stretch. I mean, they got the Chargers, Saints, Steelers, Broncos, Steelers next 5. I mean, Steelers are tough. Broncos are tough. They got the Chiefs, and after that, they're at the Bengals. I mean, might be too tough a schedule, but I think they're probably going to be a 6 or 7 win team at this point if they keep playing the way they did on Sunday.
All right, Patriots 25, Jets 22. The Patriots snap a 6-game losing streak, 5th straight loss for the Jets.
It's just shake my head. You look at the talent on this club, and a talent on the Jets roster, and you're only scoring 9, 17, 20, 15, and 22 points the last 5 weeks. It's incredible to me that their offense does as poorly as it does with as many great players as they do. You know, that really blows my mind too. If you look at the Thursday night football game, Titans are 6-2, the Jets are 2-6. The Jets are actually a 2-point favorite. I cannot understand how people just misunderstand what this team is. They're not very good despite the talent that they have, and it might be a quarterback.
One thought every game: Packers 30, Jaguars 27. Jacksonville will be here on Sunday. Packers 4 straight wins. It's their longest win streak since 2022. Trevor Lawrence, 2 costly turnovers again in the game.
Yeah, he doesn't protect the ball very well. And the Jaguars, they've got some issues where I don't think that they think as a team, that if you look at their team, they just don't believe that this system's going to help them win. And once you start losing faith in your system, you've got a problem. And the Packers, hey, Love gets hurt. We put Willis out there. Again, 4 or 5 for 56 yards and a touchdown. They find ways to manufacture plays with him, and that's all they need when they've got everything else that they have. Because, by the way, Packers are really good at creating turnovers, exceptional defense in that area. So Lawrence having the turnovers, but a lot of that's come through the Packers defense. Packers, if they've got the formula for success, Love stays with them, if he can stay healthy, again, Super Bowl contender.
One thought every game. Casey Joyner from The Athletic. Let's go to the Cardinals, the first place Cardinals, second consecutive win on a game-winning field goal as time expires at regulation. They beat the Dolphins 28-27. They're 2-5. The Dolphins, their worst record through 7 games since 2021. And man, that was the tank for Tues season, I think.
That was, and I've been saying about the Cardinals, don't have a ton of talent. They're well coached. They're going to play hard, and they got Harrison going on a vertical game again. He hasn't been doing much in the vertical passing game because Kyler Murray's still terrible at that, and it's still going to be a problem for them. But they did what they did, and mind you, Tyreek Hill, he gets Tagovailoa back, and 6 catches for 72 yards. I mean, that's good, but it's not what you expect out of Tyreek Hill. So Dolphins offense still hasn't gotten back to where it needs to be.
All right, one thought every game. Falcons 31, Buccaneers 26. Falcons have swept the season series versus the Bucs for the first time since 2018, and now that puts them clearly in first base. -3 in the turnover margin for the Buccaneers. No takeaways, 3 turnovers, worst turnover margin in the game. Why? They have no receivers.
Have no receivers. Kate Otten, 2 touchdowns. I got him on fantasy team. He's fantastic to have him there. And mind you, he's had a favorable schedule, and they're going to make him a central part. But Jared, Irving, McMillan, Palmer, Miller, these guys, these guys are just, they've got nobody at receiver, and they're doing something with it. The problem for them is that their defense is so bad. Their defense has just atrocious metrics. They're some of the worst over the past 4 weeks. They're so bad that you're going to have to keep passing, and they're going to have to keep relying on these receivers. It's not a formula for success. So Tampa's got some problems, but Atlanta, hey, if you give them a good matchup, look what Kirk Cousins can do, 4 touchdowns.
All right, one thought every game. Texans and the Colts 23-20. Houston wins this game. I think if Flacco plays this game, maybe Indianapolis wins. He'll be playing moving forward. The Texans have won 3 straight versus the Colts for the second time in team history. They're 6-2. It's the second best 8-game start in Houston history. Anthony Richardson completed 31% of his passes. Holy mackerel, the lowest by a Colts player since Jeff George in 1990. He completed 31% of his passes and then said, I'm done with this. I need a break.
It might be the best thing that happened to him. It really might, because they had to put him out there probably to placate the owner, said, hey, we got a first-round pick and we need to be developing him. And I'm sure the coaches were like, yeah, but we play better when Flacco's out there. We should be going in that direction. So that Richardson took a day off or took a play off, and he could say, hey, look, you know what? And mind you, evidently from what from what's leaking out of their locker room and things, evidently the other players were pretty unhappy with that, which makes sense if you're the offensive lineman. Like, what, you get to take a play off? I'd like to take a play off. I can imagine that didn't go over well, but it could be the best thing that happened to him because, if he plays, they probably win. He gets their passing game going in a way that Richardson just hasn't been able to do. And you got to see if he can develop a passing skills, but you don't do that by losing games. You got to make sure you can stay competitive. So get Richardson some package plays. Fine, you only have to play 5 games a game or something of that nature. Do something with that. You can still get something out of it, but you got to go with Flacco for them.
They are going with Flacco. They announced that today. Let's go one thought every game. Kansas City wins again. They are 7-0, 27-20. Chiefs, third time they're 7-0 in team history. A 50-point differential this season. So I don't know. This Chiefs team, they're kind of winning these games. It's not aesthetically pleasing all the time. They've beaten the Raiders like brains out for the last 30 years. It feels. What did we talk about the other day? They were favored over them 23 straight times. Well, they got it done again.
They did. And you look at the Chiefs' schedule. I mean, this is just, I can't. It's possibly going undefeated. Look, they got the Bucks, they got the Broncos, tough game. They still got 2 against the Broncos. They got the Bills, they got the Panthers, they got the Raiders again, they got the Chargers, and they've got some tougher games coming up. That I'm not saying they will go undefeated, but man, they're going to be have a pretty good schedule. They've got a defense, they got a running game, and they can get just enough done with Mahomes, and that's not usually what you'd expect to say off this team. So it's a good win for them, but they should beat the Raiders. In fact, they should beat the Raiders by more than 7 because they're that much more talented. Yeah, you give them a couple weeks when they got the Bills and Broncos and Bills back to back. I think we'll find something else about them.
The 50-point differential is the second lowest by an undefeated 7-0 team in NFL history. So it shows you they are not this dominant juggernaut that the 7-0 would suggest. All right, one thought every game. This one was wild. Commanders 18, Bears 15. First game this century where each team scored a touchdown in the final 30 seconds of the fourth quarter, and we saw how that last play came down, and that puts the Commanders at 6-2.
I can't imagine if you're Stevenson. He goes, the coach said yesterday, he said, what was his responsibility on the play? Oh, he was supposed to box up, Brown. That's what he was. The guy who catched that was his responsibility directly. And if you're the Bears, this could be, I would say this could be catastrophic, but you're going to get tested. How are you going to handle this? This is a game that one of your teammates lost. Are you going to get any infighting on the team? Are you going to, are you guys being front runners? It's going to be a problem for them. But if you're the Commanders, you can already feel that they think, it's Hail Maryland. This is already got a nickname play. You've got one of those in the middle of the season. That could be one of those team of destiny moments. And I think it could be something that actually pushes them even further, not just to win itself, but how they're thinking, hey, we're going to find ways to win games we should lose. And that's an important thing if you got a team psyche there.
Well, you look at the Commanders' schedule, they don't have very many losable games left on that schedule. That win there, they look back and say, hey, that could got us a division, or that gets us a home field, or something to that effect. And the Bears could look back and say, we lost that game, and that's what knocked us out. That game there, we'll remember that one and take a look back at these two teams who have the 2 quarterbacks. They didn't really live up to the quarterback height other than Daniels throwing the Hail Mary to win that game there. All right, one thought every game. Bills 31, Seahawks 10. This was in Seattle. Worst home loss since 2017 versus the Rams. They lost 42-7 that game. It's the third longest active streak without losing by 20 or more at home, and that got snapped by Buffalo, who keeps winning these games. They got some big, impressive 20-plus more wins here. The Bills, 31-10.
They don't have to do Josh Allen, 7 rushes, 25 yards. You're not doing a lot of his rushing. Cook is being a rusher. You're getting Davis in there for 6 for 29. That's good. Look at the receivers. Shakir, 9 for 107. Coleman, 5 for 70. Kincaid, 4 for 31. Cooper, only 1 for 3. He hasn't even been really integrated in the offense. And last week, if they get okay, he's going to be a bigger part. Not necessarily. And by the way, their defense, the defensive metrics, especially like on vertical passes, they're doing exceptionally well. And mind you, Seattle, they can run the ball and they can pass the ball. And Seattle did nothing. It ran for 32 yards. So, the Buffalo defense is playing up to that level. It's one of those things where Buffalo's defense keeps playing at this level. If you put them against Kansas City right now, if it was a playoffs coming up and you said, hey, Buffalo, Kansas City, they can match them on defense. They got better offense. I take the Bills in that matchup.
Well, they'll play in a couple of weeks. We'll see how that one goes down. One thought every game. Broncos 28, Panthers 14. Broncos 5-3. It's their best start through 8 games since 2016. I got nothing on Carolina because they're terrible, but are we supposed to believe that this Broncos team is for real?
28-14. It was 28-7. Then they got a giveaway touchdown with 18 seconds left. So it really was a blowout. The Broncos got ahead. It was 27 at halftime. They cruised to victory and things. That's what you want to see. And Bo Nix, He can run the ball very well. They ran for 4 yards, but he's had a lot of good games running the ball. They didn't have to have him run the ball in this game. They could, gave 25 carries to McLaughlin and Williams, but he's 28 to 37, 284 for 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. I mean, they're finding ways to get a good passing game going. It's one of those things where I think this team has a ceiling, but the ceiling is the playoffs. I think they can at least get to the playoffs and things because this is not a fluky team. They're playing very good defense and they're finding ways to do enough things on offense.
And there's not a lot. The AFC trying to find 3 wild card teams is not the easiest challenge here because one of these teams, the Chargers, they win 26-8. Their defense has been stifling this year. They snapped a 4-game losing streak versus the Saints. The Saints, 94 points in their last 6 games. They had 91 points after their first 2 games. The Saints' injuries have ravaged their season. They're going to get Carr back. But this Chargers team, they're another team like the Broncos who are just kind of in this mix, and you don't think much of them.
Yeah, and they've got McConkey, who's all catches all 6 of his targets for 111 yards, 2 touchdowns, do very well there. They didn't get much done in the running game. I mean, Herbert was almost as many yards, almost led the team in rushing. But you've got Dobbins, 17 for 57. I keep saying this. The Chargers know what they want to be. They know what kind of team they want to be. They can have Herbert throw if they need to, but they can run. They can play really good defense. They're a limited team in a lot of ways, but you've got Herbert. If you need to throw the ball, you can do some things there. So they've got some things of that nature. Again, they're another team where I think they probably, talk about the weak AFC, they probably make the playoffs as a wild card too. They've got a low ceiling, but they're still better than so many teams in the league right now. And New Orleans, I mean, like I said, injuries, even Camaro's injured. And that's even if they get Carr back, I don't think they salvage the season.
All right, one thought every game. Casey Joyner from The Athletic here on the Sports Bash. It was a Sunday nighter. It looked like it was starting to get away from the Cowboys. They get back in the game. 49ers, 4 straight win versus the Cowboys. Their longest streak versus Dallas in 6 straight back in 81-90. 30-24, they hold on, but a couple of turnovers by Dak, and the Cowboys now starting to fade in the NFC race.
They are, and they don't have a good defense, 223 rushing yards. They don't play well. They don't play run defense well at all. They make mistakes. They don't tackle well. Even when they are lined up right, they don't defeat blocks. I mean, this is a team that just does not handle the run well. And again, 56 rushing yards. It's like, you get Dalvin Cook and Ezekiel. What is this, 2018? I mean, this is not a good backfield. And they are not a good enough team on defense and not a good team running the ball. Dak can only do so much. And CeeDee Lamb, you can throw him 17 targets. You just still can't get your offense going. That says something. The Niners, too, by the way, might get McCaffrey back after the bye, and you start to get some of these other players healthy. In fact, the bye's coming at a perfect time for them. They could be ascending after this if they get healthy.
All right, one thought every game. It all came down to this one last night. The Steelers 26-18. The Steelers beat the Giants to improve to 6-2. It's their best record through 8 games since 2020. They were 8-0 that year. Then they kind of fell apart. This is unbelievable. The 22nd consecutive home win on Monday Night Football for the Steelers. And, of course, the Monday night primetime misery for Daniel Jones, 1-15 now for the Giants, who fall to 2-6.
They do. Tracy got 145 yards last night, but now he's got a concussion. This game, by the way, 8 field goals. There have been 11 games in NFL history with 9 or more field goals. We're that close to being one of the rare games in NFL history for as far as that goes. Wilson's looking really good. They get the ground game going. They've got Warren. They're incorporating him in now, so they don't have to lean quite as heavily on Harris. She still had 19 carries, but I think they want to get that to a platoon. As Warren gets integrated into offense, I think they'll do that. So you've got what you want there. Porter, by the way, Belichick was talking last night, and he said Porter on Neighbors. He said if they got Porter on Neighbors, the Steelers or the Giants just could keep throwing the slate. And he said they should, because Porter's basically going to shut down Neighbors. Like, wow, that's how good Porter is, and that's how good Slayton is too, by the way, as far as Belichick goes. But I mean, the Giants have a lot of problems, but the Steelers, they finally course corrected. They needed to do it over the last couple of years. They needed to get a course correction going of who they wanted to be. Now they know who they want to be. Their defense can still play better, by the way, than what they have, but they know what they want to be. And that's when the Steelers know what they want to be and they start playing at that level. They're Super Bowl contender. I wouldn't be shocked to see them win the AFC if they keep ascending the way that they are right now.
All right, there you go. One thought every game from Casey Joyner from The Athletic. Man, Week 9, we're at the halfway point of the season. Who will be the teams that have the legs? Who will start fading away? Well, we'll preview that on Thursday with a Week 9 slate of one thought on every game coming up with Casey Joyner Thursday at 5 o'clock right here on the Sports Bash. All right, man. We'll see you then.
Appreciate it, man.
All right, Casey Joyner, as always, here on One Thought, Every Game Sports Bash. It's brought to you by Cooper University Healthcare. We're doing something extraordinary for families down the shore. It's the Sports Bash live on 97.3 ESPN, the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, live video streaming on the X platform and YouTube at Mike Gill Show. And you can subscribe, get the live alerts. Don't forget, we got Flyers hockey tonight on our sister station, Rock 104.1. And the Rock 104.1 free mobile app. You can download the Rock 104.1 app on your phone and listen to the Flyers game, or simply listen on the radio at 104.1, Rock 104.1, your home for Flyers hockey. And, of course, tonight, Game 4 of the World Series is right here on 97.3 ESPN, Yankees and Dodgers. I think the Yankees are done. I actually think the Dodgers get this thing over with, and the baseball season comes to a close tonight. Ratings have been decent for the baseball playoffs, but you get the Dodgers L.A., and now you got a sweep possibly coming. No bueno there. About 14 million people, I think, watched the Dodger game, the first two games on average. Watched the Dodger-Yankee game in Game 1 and 2. Last night, I don't think I've seen the ratings for that yet, but tonight I think it ends, and I think the Dodgers win, and the Cowboy fans and the Yankee fans go crying with two lost seasons. The Yankees make the World Series, but is that what you yearn for, just making the World Series? All right, we'll come back at today's Big Three, find out what a former GM says on how the Eagles exposed the Bengals by doing this. That's next. This is the Sports Bash.
You're listening to the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Never thought this radio stunt would catch on so big.
On 97.3 ESPN.
Something good to know from First Bank of Sea Isle City. We have all of today's innovative banking products just like the big banks, but we offer something they can't. A personal community focus. Let's get you started with Bill Pay. You save time when you pay your bills online. It's fast, easy, and convenient. First Bank of Sea Isle City. A community bank that delivers more for you every day. Personal service, today's technology, from the people who truly care. Learn more at firstbankseaisle.com.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Kick off the holidays with the perfect tree from the Home Depot and enjoy free delivery on over 2 million items this holiday season, subject to availability. Visit homedepot.com for details.
Did you know that Wendy's has any size soft drinks for just $1? Yeah, any size, anytime. Like $1 Coke, $1 Sprite, or even $1 strawberry Fanta. Okay, could we maybe switch up the sound effect, please? Because I'm losing it. Wow, no, not that. Any size soft drink for just $1? Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. A la carte only. Not valid in a combo. Exclusions apply.
Halloween's coming alive at Target. Jackie and Gordy, the Jack-O-Lanterns, here with last chance Halloween deals. Looks like Mom's got the old pumpkin bucket stocked with the best candy, starting at $5.99.
Lucky pumpkin bucket. Oh, there's Dad party planning with a same-day delivery order.
Yes, it's a BOGO 50% off pizza party with Target Circle. Plus, buy 3, save 40% on soda 12 packs. Get Target Circle.
Nice saves, Dad.
Make your Halloween come alive at Target. Need it last minute? Get same-day delivery with Target Circle 360. Restrictions apply.
It's the time of year for killer deals. You've had your eye on some hot new wheels. We want to pay off your loan or lease and tell your old car to rust in peace.
Get to Matt Black Kia today. Buried in a loan or lease? Matt Black Kia wants to get you released and treat yourself to 0 down, 0 payments until next year. Even 0% up to 72 months on every clearly marked new Matt Black Kia in stock. You won't need a costume to get a brand new Matt Black Kia Forte LXS under 20 grand. That's right, a brand new Kia, just $19,999 with any trade. That's less than most used vehicles.
It's gotta be a Matt Black Kia.
With approved credit 24 EV9 and 6, $13.88 per thousand. Not all will qualify. Credit may affect down payment. Offers can be combined. Go to MattBlackKiaNJ.com for complete details or 888-505-6670. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer, except for licensing, registration, and taxes. Through KNF, rebate and incentives to deal. Expires 10/31/24. Matt Black Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and on Route 37 in Toms River.
Every day, Cintas service reps help businesses get ready for the workday. They provide freshly laundered workwear delivered every week. Mats, mops, restroom and cleaning supplies, first aid and safety products to help your employees stay safe. They even test and inspect fire extinguishers and emergency lights. Cintas helps keep your business running smoothly. See what Cintas can do for you. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Medicare is making important changes in 2025. It's time to think about what benefits you need. AmeriHealth can help with monthly premiums as low as $0. Dental, vision, and hearing. No referrals, plus prescription drug coverage. AmeriHealth has been serving New Jersey residents for 30 years. Visit AmeriHealthMedicare.com/help25 today. AmeriHealth offers PPO Medicare Advantage plans with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in AmeriHealth PPO Medicare Advantage plans depends on contract renewal.
Order for Jennifer C.
Is this my double shot, double cream, double froth, double pump, double hot, double whip, double sleeve?
Yeah. Can you handle that much caffeine?
Hey, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Well, I do now.
Seriously, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, you just said that.
Did you say I just said that?
Yeah, I'm cutting you off.
Did you say you're cutting me off?
You earn, we match. Unlimited cashback match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Progressive Insurance presents the Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN. NHL, the Flyers return to the ice tonight. They're in Boston to take on the Bruins. Philadelphia has lost 6 of their last 7 after falling Sunday to Montreal 4-3. It's a one-game trip for the Flyers. They return home Thursday to take on the St. Louis Blues. Tonight's game will be on our sister station, Rock 104. The Sixers hosting the Detroit Pistons Wednesday night, coming off an overtime win Sunday against Indiana. Paul George and Joel Embiid listed as game-time decisions. Both have not played in the first 3 games of the year. The Pistons at 0-4 under new head coach J.B. Bickerstaff. World Series Game 4 tonight. Dodgers up 3 games to none on the Yankees, a win away from completing the championship sweep. They win Game 3 on Monday 4-2. Luis Gil gets the start for the Yankees tonight to try to stay alive in this series. Coverage starts at 8 o'clock. You're right here on 97.3 ESPN. I'm Tony Desiri, and that's your Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN.
You're a winner when you play Borgata's Winning Wonderland. Now through December 28th, earn entries for your stake in over $1 million in prizes, including 2 2025 Range Rovers. Visit theborgata.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. The warm-up is about to kick into high gear. Temperatures tomorrow and Thursday will run about 15 degrees above normal for late October. A few clouds tonight, and it'll be comfortable. Low temperature 54. Tomorrow, sunny clouds, high 78. 79 for Halloween Thursday, warmest day of the week. Partly sunny and dry. A quick shower expected Friday morning. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
New Jersey is the Garden State. But did you know that one of the most important things we can farm is wind? Offshore wind provides clean, renewable energy. It creates jobs and drives economic growth. In fact, it's estimated that a single wind farm can create over 4,000 jobs and add more than $700 million to the state's economy. Offshore wind, propelling New Jersey's future. To learn more, visit nj.gov/offshore wind.
We have the perfect solution for sitting in traffic.
Come with me.
The Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
All right, 5:35, we'll get to the big 3. It's brought to you by
Boxing Insider Promotions is back in Tropicana, Atlantic City, Mike. November 16th, not 1, not 2, but 3 South Jersey fighters on this card. All undefeated, by the way. Justin Figueroa from Atlantic City, Bruce Selden Jr., Absegami High School, and Francisco Cisco Kid Rodriguez from Pleasantville, all in action November 16th. Get your tickets right now at Ticketmaster.com for the biggest South Jersey boxing showcase you can find anywhere. Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City, November 16th.
All right, don't forget, you can check us out Thursday. We'll be live at Chickies and Pete's in Atlantic City. We'll be over there for the show. Tomorrow, back in the studio. Sixers tomorrow night. Flyers tonight over on our sister station. World Series tonight. Busy week of sports, but here is today's Big 3.
Mike, the GM Shuffle podcast, for those who may have heard before, it is in my rotation of podcasts. And General Manager Michael Lombardi, well, he is known to go on these little rants. And he talked about on the podcast about how, for him, the story of the Eagles winning Cincinnati, Mike, wasn't just the Eagles. It was about how the Eagles exposed the Bengals. And I don't think we may have thought of this before, Mike. Are the Eagles just tougher than the Bengals? Take a listen.
The Eagles punted on the second series. They didn't punt the rest of the game. And I'm not blaming Lou for this. They have no toughness. They just let them run the ball up and down your throat. Goes back to Zach Taylor. Like, Zach, at what point don't you realize that either you change or you don't? Sean Payton went through this. You know what he realized? I got to be tougher, and I got to run the ball. I got to make this team win games in November and December.
You know, this is something reminiscent to what the Eagles did when Sirianni was a rookie head coach.
2021.
He said, I got to get this team tougher. We just got to, change who we are. And they started to run the ball a little bit more. And he basically, it sounds like Michael Lombardi, of course, former NFL GM, won a couple Super Bowls as a GM. And, you take a look at his messaging there is the Eagles were just a tougher team. Now, I think that's going to be an interesting question. We've seen this element of the tougher team, Detroit over Dallas, just flat out tougher than them. And Philadelphia over Cincinnati, just beat them up physically. Philly is 14-1 when Nick Sirianni runs the ball more than they pass the ball. But, those numbers, like we talk about this a lot with McMullen. When you have a lead, you run the ball to run the clock, and you're going to have more running plays generally at the end of that game. Now, they had 39 run plays to 20 pass plays, but part of it was they were running at a 5-yard per play clip with Saquon Barkley averaged 4.9, and I think if you add in a couple of the other guys in there, they had 39 carries. Let me pull up the actual number. It was 39 carries I know they got for 161. So they averaged 4.1 yards per carry. Hurts with the tush pushes in there.
Push brings the number down.
Yeah, exactly. So they just physically beat the Cincinnati Bengals
without two of their starting offensive linemen.
Yeah, Steen's done a really nice job for Mekhi Becton. I don't know there's a huge drop-off there. Fred Johnson played well. I mean, you're not sitting there saying, man, he struggled, and he did a great job in pass protection. In the run game.
He played a lot better than he did in the Tampa game.
No doubt. But the line played well. They physically beat Cincinnati up front.
So which brings us to the next question about how many times have we talked about, Mike, what does Nick Sirianni do? Well, Zach Taylor's a coach who does call the plays, Mike. He is the offensive play caller in Cincinnati. Part of the reason why Brian Callahan wanted out of Cincinnati so he could call his own plays and be a head coach. Michael Lombardi said this.
To me, this is an institutional problem, and it's the Zach Taylors. It's these guys who are play callers running these NFL teams that don't understand what it takes to win. It doesn't take more pass plays. It takes toughness and physicality in the trenches. The Eagles walked in there and slapped them.
I love that. I had the conversation with Colin Thompson earlier today about this because he mentioned Cliff Kingsbury getting an NFL head coaching job again. I said, why? Why? Why does Cliff Kingsbury need another head coaching job? It's the whole, why are you qualified to be a head coach just because you're a good play caller? And I don't understand because the personality of the team is the head coach. And this finesse spread offense, that's fine if that's what you have for your offensive talent. But I don't want that to be the personality of my team. And I agree with what Michael Lombardi said. This Bengals team should be way better. They went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and last year they didn't make playoffs. I get it, Burrow got hurt. Well, here they are again, and this is another disappointing season for them. And you know why? After watching them for a full game, we see them here and there, but watching them for a full game the other day, Lombardi's right. They're just not a tough team. They're just not a tough team.
Yeah, one of the things that Belichick has talked about on the McAfee show before, he said, is that, these teams that pass the ball a lot, he says, name me the team that passes the ball all the time that won a championship. At some point, you do have to play some defense and run the football.
Well, when push comes to shove, why does the end of these games, Kansas City wins the Super Bowl? Who's the guy you're talking about?
Pacheco.
They're running the ball. They're beating you up. I mean, listen, it's great to have a quarterback that can make plays and that you can say, hey, I need you to win us a game this week. But ultimately, it's hard to ask that guy to win you a game. Even Mahomes. I mean, Mahomes is doing it right now. But holy mackerel, it's going to be tough to do that for 4 weeks in a row.
Well, he also has, 8, 9 interceptions. So, I mean, it's not like he's playing
That's
great.
true, yeah.
You could have the quote-unquote quarterback, but then what do you do when he doesn't play well, right? Well, somebody else got to do something. And Andy Reid still has a running game, a good defense, and an offensive line.
And it's not even like I don't want to be the guy who's old school, run the ball. I'm not that guy at all. You do need to have, I think what we are seeing is an element of toughness that I can wear you down and I can take your soul and I can beat you up.
Break your will.
Yeah.
Which is part of what Lombardi also said on the GM Shuffle podcast about the Eagles' win in Cincinnati.
Yeah, the game was too easy for the Eagles. The Eagles really didn't even have to break a sweat. I mean, they really didn't. Defensively, it was hard in the beginning. But that Bengal defense can't hold anybody. They can't play off blocks. They don't tackle well. There's nothing physical about them.
He's right about that. When the Eagles in that second half, they scored 6 straight times. There's nothing physical about them. And I think when we look at these teams, it's a week-to-week league, and it's, sometimes the talent will win out. But who's tougher when there's two teams that are equally talented?
Right. When the styles make fights is the old term with boxing and MMA, but it also applies to football. You give me the team that's going to get in your face, I'm going to take that team 9 times out of 10.
Well, up front, Cincinnati's pretty soft up front. Trey Hendrickson's a good pass rusher. They don't have much to stop the run. Their linebackers aren't great. We talked about it on Friday. The guy that I said that I thought was going to have a big game was Grant Calcaterra. Now, he didn't have a huge game, but he averaged 19 yards a catch. He had 3 catches for 58 yards because their linebackers are not great in coverage. There's so many things when you watch Cincinnati play for a full game. You now see why they're 3-5. And Joe Burrow, they don't have a great offensive line. They don't commit to the run. They ran the ball 20 times for 58 yards. That's 2.9 yards a carry, so they got nothing going on the ground there. And the Eagles, as Casey Joyner pointed out, this is a team that's turning into a really good team against the run. Vic Fangio is figuring out his rotations. He knows who he wants on the field in early running downs. He knows who he wants to get off the field. You're seeing Jordan Davis less so they can get better pass rush. You got Moro and Jomo, who he's starting to trust a little bit more. So I think it's a very astute observation by Lombardi from this game on the toughness of two different teams. Philadelphia, now, are they tough enough to go toe-to-toe? Because I think the night against Tampa Bay, they got their butts kicked.
They did. But also you could argue, did they get their butts kicked because they're not a tough team, or did they get their butts kicked because, as Vic Fangio admitted to the media, remember that, Mike? He said, yeah, we didn't expect Baker Mayfield to be throwing the ball that quickly. So is part of that just, poor planning?
Yeah, a little bit, and I think he's not really 100% sure of his personnel at
that point. Yeah. Now we're in October. Remember, Jalen Hurts has not turned the ball over since the calendar turned. Since that bye week, he has not had no turnovers. The defense has allowed the fewest points in the NFL, 29 altogether in the last 3 weeks. Something happened in that bye week, Mike, and we can make fun of Sirianni and Hurts for being in harmony and all this stuff, but you know what? Maybe it's like the flowers analogy in 2021. Maybe it just sounds weird to us because it's odd and weird and different, but whatever it is, it's working.
No doubt about it. And listen, I think the Eagles' defense is continuing to grow. I don't think that this is a finished product by any stretch of the imagination.
Absolutely. And listen, when you outscore a team 27-7 in the second half of a game, I think that definitely qualifies as getting beat down.
Yeah, and, it goes to the bite we played going into Casey Joyner about from Colin Thompson about the offense looks smooth and the stat about not scored in the first quarter. Here's what Colin Thompson had to say.
At the end of the day, their offense looks smooth. I watching the tape again. It looks smooth. I don't care about the first quarter thing. That's a stupid number. Do you win games? And how does it look? To me, that's what matters. And they look smooth. The fullback, the play action, it looked like they were setting up plays. They were building on plays from the week in the past.
I mean, for all the beat reporters keep asking about the first quarter not scoring, Colin Thompson says it's a stupid stat.
Well, I agree with them to some extent. Like, if you keep winning and you're not scoring, this game was circumstance. because they had the ball for 10 minutes.
They did.
And then you got the ball. You ended up kicking a field goal to start the second quarter.
It just happened to be in the second quarter, whereas maybe a few minutes earlier it would be in the first quarter.
Yeah, look, if you keep winning games and you don't score in the first, look, you can't get behind is the thing.
Right.
You know?
If it's nothing at the end of the first quarter, it's no harm, no foul, right?
Yeah, the Eagles went on a 10-play, 52-yard drive that took 5 minutes. They finally scored points at the in the second quarter at the 14-10 mark. So, 50 seconds into the second quarter, they ended up scoring. But, yeah, it's just a stat that's out there that's quirky. I don't know that it's affecting the win-loss. They're 5-2. More Sports Bash coming up. The Bet365 play of the day is coming up on the other side. I got Josh's tailing up my picks from last night. We'll have the updated standings on that and more. Wrapping up a show on a Tuesday edition of the Sports Bash.
Series continues on ESPN Radio.
For the third straight game in this World Series.
The Dodgers make it 3 straight and push the Yankees to the brink of elimination. Game 4, the Dodgers and Yankees. Coverage begins tonight at 7 Eastern with first pitch at 8 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Listen to the World Series Game 4 tonight on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 7 p.m.
Brought to you by Shore Physicians Group. Be well connected. Visit shorephysiciansgroup.com.
Go to get your game on at the Gallery Bar Book and Games at Ocean Casino Resort. Cheers your favorite drinks while cheering on your favorite team. Get in on the parlay while in the middle of a party. Go for the sports scene and go for the endless screams. Go to the Gallery. Go to the Fanatic Sportsbook. Go for the win at Ocean Casino Resort. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. Must be 21 or older to wager or consume alcohol. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius. Or 2 half geniuses and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Progressive presents good news, bad news, dumb news, then great news. Good news. Your coworker Kyle said bundling home and auto insurance with Progressive could save you money. Bad news. While saying this, Kyle was eating your clearly labeled lunch. Dumb news. Pizza near work costs $7 a slice, and it tastes like drywall covered in ketchup. Great news. You decide to see if you could save money bundling at Progressive.com and enjoy more lunches far away from Kyle. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Is your home ready for the season? Worried about rooms that just won't stay warm this winter? Call Jenkins Plumbing and Heating today to ask about a new energy-efficient system from American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning or a Mitsubishi Douglas system. With generous financing options through South Jersey Gas or Atlantic City Electric, plus additional savings through rebates from your local utility companies. Upgrading your system could also help lower your utility bills. Call Jenkins today or visit jenkinsandsons.com.
The following is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways with the purpose of soliciting sales of vacation ownership. For complete details, please visit fvgradio.com. If you want a 100% complimentary stay in Cancun at a luxury resort, then Family Vacation Getaways is your ticket to paradise. We're giving away 5 days and 4 night stays to the first 50 callers who can name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. An animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. Do you know it? Call now, 800-951-6541. 800-951-6541. You may also be eligible for an exciting bonus vacation in Orlando, Florida for just $398. And don't worry about anything ruining your plans. We can extend your stay up to 18 months. Name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird, and you get a complimentary Cancun resort stay and an optional bonus vacation in Orlando for just $398. What are you waiting for? Call 800-951-6541. Again, 800-951-6541 and give us your answer. The proceeding is not a contest or sweepstakes and is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways and not sponsored by or affiliated with this station or program.
Halloween's coming alive at Target.
Jackie and Gordy, the Jack-O-Lanterns here with last chance Halloween deals. Looks like Mom's got the old pumpkin bucket stocked with the best candy, starting at $5.99.
Lucky pumpkin bucket. Oh, there's Dad party planning with a same-day delivery order.
Yes, it's a BOGO 50% off pizza party with Target Circle. Plus, buy 3, save 40% on soda 12 packs with Target Circle.
Nice saves, Dad.
Make your Halloween come alive at Target. Need it last minute? Get same-day delivery with Target Circle 360. Restrictions apply.
New 2024 Nissan Rogue S, 0 down and 2.9% financing for 60 months. But when they're gone, they're gone. Have a trade? Bring it to AJ the Trade Man. He's paying cash, lots of cash, up to 120% more cash than KBB fair market value. Then drive home in your new 2025 matte black Nissan Kicks. Just $299 per month lease with 0 security deposits. And every new matte black Nissan comes with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Have a job clearing $450 per week at Matte Black Newly approved today with 0 down and low 2.9% financing. MattBlackNissan.com. Unapproved Tier 1 credit through NEMAT. Negative equity will be refinanced with the new vehicle plus tax tag of $589 doc fee. Offers can't be combined. Call 877-289-6670 or go to MattBlackNissan.com for complete details. 24 months, 10,000 miles, $27.99 due through NEMAT. PIN RC 738396. MSRP 31,115. It's on at Matt Black Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
You're listening to The Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
All right, time for the Bet365 play of the day. Now, I've been really nice giving you plays of the day, giving you multiple plays. I had a 7-teamer there last night, Josh, although apparently one of them I gave out on the air. I didn't play myself. So give us the standings and up-to-dates.
Yesterday, you went 4-1. Wan'Dale Robinson over on the receptions. Russell Wilson.
He got that late. He got that late.
He did, but he got it. That's all that matters.
Yep.
Russell Wilson over on the passing yards. Pickens over on the receiving yards. In the NBA, the Pacers covered the +5 by losing by 4. Got that by just a nail. But apparently the Rockets and the Spurs decided to have what's the equivalent of modern NBA rock fight and did not get the over on the point total. Rockets won 106-101, the equivalent of a low-scoring game in the modern NBA.
Yeah, that's a bummer. So what's the updated standings?
45-26.
45-26. I've been giving some winners out for you guys. A lot of winners out, apparently, there. All right, here we go tonight. Ann Edwards over 11.5 rebound assists combined. De'Aaron Fox over 5.5 assists. Jokic over 48.5 points, rebounds, and assists. And Malik Monk over 1.5 3-point shots tonight go down for the former Kentucky guy, Malik Monk. And that is the Bet365 plays of the day here on the Sports Bash. We'll give them to you again tomorrow. We'll get you the up-to-date standings and more on the Sports Bash. All right, that'll be it for me tonight. We've got Flyers hockey tonight on Rock 104.1. That's our sister station right up the dial. Rock 104.1. Puck drops at 7 o'clock. We have coverage of the Yankees and that Dodgers World Series Game 4, and that is coming up at 7 o'clock here on 97.3 ESPN. That'll do it for me. Don't forget, you can watch the show live each and every day on the X platform and on YouTube at Mike Gill Show. Subscribe, share, like, and don't forget, you can listen on the free mobile app on your phone, and that's thanks to First Bank of Sea Isle City. Holy moly. Thanks to our guests today, Colin Thompson, Johnny Mack, Adam Kaplan, Casey Joyner. We'll do it again tomorrow, right here on the Sports Bash, live on 97.3 ESPN. Have a great night, everybody.
It's Sixers basketball tomorrow night on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the Sixers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Maxey for 3, outside left, bullseye. He puts it in. A crossover dribble on McBride, and he pours in a triple.
It's Sixers Pistons tomorrow night. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. It's Sixers basketball all season long on South Jersey's radio home.